I added one more podcast to the giant podcast bin. Now you have plucked that podcast out and started listening. I took my microphone and found some human folk. Then I recorded all the noises while we spoke. My name is Adam Buxton, I'm a man. I want you to enjoy this, that's the plan. There she goes, the hairy bullet. How you doing, podcats? Adam Buxton here. Welcome to podcast number 76. It is the middle of May, thereabouts, 2018. I am walking down a track, as you may be able to hear, in the countryside, out in the east of England. It's a Sunday afternoon. Weather's a little bit blah, but you know, could be a lot worse. I'm not complaining. I don't want you to think I'm complaining. I'm lucky. I know it. And so is Rosie, my dog friend. She leads the good life out here. She's not even on a leash. There's no one around really in these fields, so she can just do what she wants. Although occasionally she will hang out with some fairly insalubrious types. Last week, for example, she came back with a couple of ticks. Not something she's done before, which is a surprise really, because there's a lot of long grass out here and quite a number of deer that go scampering around, so it's ideal tick territory, you might think. Anyway, so far she's managed to avoid that crowd, but this week there they were, two of them hanging out on her head. And I was forced to get out the tweezers.
Yeah, you were really rude to them as well.
Well, I'm sorry, Rosie, but, you know, I've told you before, you're a good-looking young dog. You're going to attract those kinds of parasites, and I don't want them in my house.
You didn't even try to get to know them.
Look, I've come across their kind before, and believe me, you do not want to hang out with them. It's all take, and maybe, if you're lucky, a bit of Lyme disease.
You never like anyone I bring home.
Well, that's often because you've killed them. But look, I'm just watching out for your best interests.
Oh, you don't know anything about my best interests. I'm going to go and find some squirrels. They're much nicer than you.
Okay, while Rosie goes off, let me tell you a little bit about this week's podcast conversation, which is with British writer, producer and presenter Charlie Brooker. Here's some brief Charlie facts for you. One of the first things to bring Charlie's humour to the attention of the wider world, including myself and Joe Cornish, was the website that Charlie created in 1999, TV Go Home, which featured beautifully laid out, invented TV listings, satirising the kind of programmes that Charlie would sit at home and shout at the time. The website still exists, in fact, and you'll find a link, along with a few other things that we talk about, in the description of this episode. Another fan of TV Go Home was British comedian and satirist Chris Morris, with whom Charlie developed his first narrative TV show, Nathan Barley, that aired on Channel 4 in the UK in 2005. Nathan Barley lampooned all aspects of ludicrous East London trendy culture. At the time, it got rather a tepid reception from some critics and viewers, but it's since found a new generation of fans for whom the show works as a satire of all sorts of modern pop cultural twattery, some of which appears to have used episodes of Nathan Barley as a kind of instruction manual, not mentioning any names. Vice. In 2006, Charlie began writing and presenting the TV review show Screen Wipe on BBC 4. That was similar in tone to the Guardian TV review columns that Charlie wrote from 2000 to 2010. They were called Screen Burn, I seem to recall, and Screen Wipe on TV provided a loose format within which Charlie could rant and rave between carefully chosen clips and the occasional guest contribution. I contributed something as Ken Corder ages ago about a TV show called The Mint. I'm not suggesting it was the greatest moment ever on Screen Wipe, but it was a moment. Charlie continues to present the odd end-of-year wipe to this day, although the 2017 end-of-year wipe had to be cancelled due to deadline pressure from his globe-conquering, multi-award-winning science fiction anthology series, Black Mirror. Black Mirror's self-contained episodes, 18 to date since it started airing in 2011, have provided Charlie with a place to explore on a more ambitious scale many of the themes that have always preoccupied him, especially the social and spiritual price to be paid for the wonders of technological progress. Black Mirror, like much of Charlie's work, is filled with moments that are wildly imaginative, strange, hilarious, angry, and sometimes just goofy. A bit like Charlie himself, as you'll hear. And I suppose at this point I should say that if you're likely to be upset or offended by some very strong language and a few somewhat grim and scatological conversational topics, then this may not be the best episode of the podcast for you. But if you don't listen, you will miss out on Charlie's impression of comedian Jimmy Carr's distinctive laugh, which comes towards the end of our chat, and that is something that I think is going to make you happier. My conversation with Charlie was recorded in March of this year, 2018, in the West London house where he lives with his wife Connie and their 2 young children. One of the first things you see when you enter their house is a full-size Space Invaders arcade game cabinet. Now, video games have always featured heavily in Charlie's life and work. His entry point into the media was game journalism back in the 90s, and we began by reminiscing about our childhood fascination with those blocky virtual worlds. Back at the end with a small serving of waffle, but right now, here we go!
Ramble chat, let's have a ramble chat. We'll focus first on this, then concentrate on that. Come on, let's chew the fat and have a ramble chat. Put on your conversation coat and find your talking hat. Yes, yes, yes.
What was your first exposure to video games?
I can remember that it was at a swimming pool in, I think, Wantage in Oxfordshire, Berkshire. And they had Space Invaders and Breakout, and I think it's called Circus with a seesaw and 2 blokes who pop balloons. Don't know if you remember that.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing them and being immediately mesmerised. There was something magic about them, and I think it was something to do with the fact that you could control what was on a television.
Yeah.
I must have been about 6 or 7, something like that. It must have been about 1977, I'm guessing. So I was born in 71. And I remember they had an attract mode, which is where they just demo how the game works while it says insert coin. And if I didn't have 10p...
Is that what it's called, an attract mode?
Attract mode. It's quite a good phrase to know. And I would convince myself I was playing it, that it had gone wrong and had given me a free game, if you see what I mean. So I'd stand there, sort of... Well, I was going to say wiggling the joystick, but I think Space Invaders was 2 buttons for left and right. And from then I was just sort of... I don't know, I always thought there was something kind of magical about them. I remember seeing Pac-Man on a ferry, and we were all queuing up to play. It was on a school trip to France or something like that. So I can vividly remember these things. And then sort of I got a ZX80, which was pre the ZX81. This is really nerdy, actually. So for younger listeners, a ZX80 was basically... It was probably about on the level of something you'd get now in a greetings card to to power a tune or something like that. It couldn't even do that. It couldn't make music, but it could do nothing, and it was black and white, and you could program it. I got it in a jumble sale.
What would you do on it? I never had one of those. Like, you're learning basic programming on there.
You couldn't really do anything. I was hoping it would play games, but really the only game I had was in the manual, and you had to type it in, and it was called something like Cheese Nibbler, and it showed a grey block that it said was cheese, and you had to push a button. It had like a flat sort of keyboard, no actual moving keys. You had to touch a button to make a little bit of the cheese disappear, and when you did it all, it told you how long it had taken you. That was the game. So it wasn't very good. And then I got a ZX Spectrum. Begged for a ZX Spectrum for Christmas. and got one of those. And then I was sort of off playing games constantly.
Yeah, they were pretty good. I never had one of those, but I do remember spending an evening round at a friend's, playing some sort of game where you appeared to be flying through space. There were stars coming at you and you could make certain decisions. It was a little bit like...
Was it Elite? Was it three-dimensional?
Yeah.
Wireframe?
Maybe.
White?
I think so. It was a bit like Dungeons and Dragons in space.
That sounds like Elite.
But it was the most exciting night. And this is obviously, I was too young to be involved with any stimulants whatsoever.
Right.
So this was purely fueled on imagination.
Yeah.
And it was just the most thrilling evening I can remember. It was like being in a dream that had become real.
Yeah. That's absolutely what it felt like. And now, obviously, you look at those games now, and I do look at those games now occasionally, and they look rubbish.
Yeah.
And they're really almost unplayable. But the leap of imagination, I guess, that you were required to take, you'd sort of lean in and fill in a lot of the blanks, and it did feel like there were entire sort of universes in there. One of our kids, we've got two kids, and he's 5, he's about to be 6. I can recognise myself in him. He's completely obsessed with any computer games. And like he can tell you the entire history of Mario, for instance, like he'll tell you. In New Super Mario Brothers on the Wii, Luigi can do a spin jump. So he just constantly comes out with this sort of stuff. Yeah. So it must be genetic, I reckon.
Well, I sympathise. And you've got downstairs an actual arcade machine, it looks like, but it's not just one
it's like
game.
It's called a main cabinet, multiple arcade machine emulator.
Yeah.
So it's like a mock-up of a Space Invaders cabinet, and inside it can emulate lots of different systems.
Amazing.
So sort of arcade games, Spectrum games, Nintendo, you name it. So it's sort of like a museum. That's quite dweeby. I've got a pinball machine as well downstairs.
I was never into pinball.
No, I didn't like it, but now, see, weirdly, it's a better game than you think.
Yeah,
pinball.
I'm sure.
Yeah, and I get quite into configuring those. I like things you can open up and fiddle with all the bits. I mean, I'm not mechanically minded. I can't actually fix it. I'll just sort of try and work out why it's gone wrong. And
you can supercharge the spring and jazz up the flippers.
You can sort of add things. Look at that, your phone's ringing. How unprofessional.
That's my producer, Seamus. Hey, Seamus. I'm fine. I'm just talking to Charlie, actually. Oh, God. Yeah,
Jesus, Seamus.
Yeah, sure, no worries. Bye. Seamus was mortified, and I'm now going to put this on airplane mode.
I don't know that he sounded mortified enough.
No, he was crying.
Oh, was it? Okay, yeah. That's up there, mortise, yeah.
Yeah, the flippers. But the thing you said before about the thrill of being able to control what was happening on a TV screen, that is the thing that completely blew my mind. I mean, I've got to find a new phrase other than blew my mind for a moment of just thrilling epiphany when I got the Atari 2600.
Yeah.
I mean, that was, I suppose, the first big colour console with cool games, the first Space Invaders game.
That had a sort of Pac-Man version on it. There were Morecambe and Wise used to advertise that.
Did they?
Yeah, if you look that up. Yeah,
right.
That's weird. So you had that. You had the cartridge-based.
Yeah.
You had one of those. Okay.
Yeah, that was the first. Well, I had a Binatone Pong console.
Yeah.
With the
dial things.
Yeah.
It can do all of those, by the way.
Right.
It can do all of the.
And that was pretty great. And that really, for a time, I might be misremembering. But for a time, we were like an advert. The whole family gathered round the TV, clapping and laughing, playing Pong. Even my dad, it was just rather good fun, isn't it? after swearing blind that he would never let us get a games console because it would spell the end of our lives.
Intellectual lives.
We'd never do any work.
Right.
Our brains would rot. All the scare stories that used to predominate in the media at that point.
Do you think, because obviously you're drawn towards the form of television. Do you know what I mean? You're like, do you think, because I think there's a sort of weird connection between that, the ability to control what was on the screen, and also another thing that was also very exciting at the same time is if I saw anything that was aware it was a television program, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like repeats of Monty Python, where there would be jokes about the BBC Two ident.
Yeah.
Or, the young ones, where they play with the fact that it was a fictional programme and it was a TV show. I think there's some weird through line there. I don't know quite what it is. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. Surely it's as simple as just suddenly having an effect on something that was previously totally impenetrable.
Yes.
And something that was served to you for you to consume. Mm-hmm. When the Atari 2600 came out, so what's that, late 70s?
Yeah.
I think we got ours early 80s, 81, 82 or something. There were 3 channels in the UK. When we got the 2600, the Atari console back and plugged it in, which took a very long time to figure it out and tune it and everything. Like, what? There's a tuning knob in the TV? Anyway, and so we tuned the channel, and suddenly the Space Invaders screen came into focus.
Must have been like receiving an alien transmission.
It really was.
Right.
And then you plug in your joystick, and you're actually controlling what's happening on a TV screen.
Yeah.
It was inexplicably exciting. I thought about it when I wasn't playing it. I went to bed smiling, thinking about it.
Did you dream about it?
Yeah, oh yeah.
I always used to find that if you played a particularly vivid game, you'd end up having dreams about it. There's something... I don't do that anymore. I remember Doom. Just jump forward to Doom. I'd have lots of dreams about Doom in the 90s.
Fun dreams or...
No, sort of horrible, because it's quite horrible, Doom.
I never played Doom.
Oh, why, you wuss. Every so often there's a little leap. There's a sort of little technical leap. Like you were saying, when you first get your 2600 and you plug it in and you see that image and it feels like magic. Doom was another one, I think, for me. That was the first time I played a game where it was multiplayer and you dial up using a modem.
No way.
And you could watch... There's your friend running around in your game. That blew my mind, to use your favourite phrase. And then recently I had it again with some of the more recent VR stuff. You put it on someone's head and the first thing they do is just start swearing.
Yeah.
They say, fucking hell!
Yeah.
Weirdly, it's things like if you're playing a driving game, it's not really the fact that you're sitting in the car that's unusual, it's that you can turn around and see the detail of the seat behind you. That's like, there's something really strange about that.
Even going up to the walls in Tomb Raider, I remember.
Yeah.
And finding that they became blocky and
yes,
they were edges to the universe. That was always a little disappointing, but still there was something. Every now and again there would be a glitch in those kinds of games and you would be able to step outside.
Yeah, or you'd fall through the floor or something
right.
And suddenly everything's grey and you can sort of see the inverse. It's like, that's quite strange.
That was thrilling as well in its own way.
I think those moments of sort of, like, again, a PlayStation, that was another one. First time I saw a PlayStation, that was like unbelievable that something that sophisticated could be in your home.
It had sex with your mind.
Basically, yeah, because that was... I'm
trying to think of an alternative to blew my mind. It filleted my mind.
It was quite impressive. I'm either going to go extremely graphic or... Yeah, no, I'm not. Yeah, but I think those little miracle moments have been happening all the time more recently, like to the point where you're sort of bored of it. Do you know what I mean? It's like, no, with your phone or with... Like when you first saw something like Uber... And it's like, I don't know if you've used Uber, where it's just, you tap this thing and the guy shows up in the car 15 before you've had time to go for a piss and say goodbye to everyone. And that's amazing the first time it happens, but now it's just sort of immediately annoying if it says it's going to take like 3 minutes and it takes 4. You're immediately sort of aggrieved.
That's before all the ethical objections start mounting up.
All the ethical... Well, and that's the other thing, is then you start... It's like... I don't know, something like Deliveroo, where you're like, okay, I can see the advantage of this, but also, did you see that thing the other day? There was videos of Deliveroo riders like trying to get through the snow when it was dangerous, and they shouldn't have been out, but there was a sort of financial incentive, like to go out, and they're like sort of snowboarding down streets or sort of like tumbling headfirst down icy staircases and stuff.
So far, I'm just respecting them more.
Well, yeah, but it's like, should you be...
I'm joking.
Should you be... Yeah, well, I don't know. But then it's convenient, isn't it?
It is
convenient. Bloody convenient. I don't know how... I don't know. There is a convenience versus ethics sort of ratio that I can't quite...
That's the fundamental question of modern life, though, isn't it? Isn't that's progress and everything else? It's just one set of people going, okay, that's enough progress now. Let's go back to just digging around in the fields and...
can't do that.
it's just become this big political quagmire, or quagmire, someone said. You said quagmire the other day. It's pronounced quagmire.
Yeah, don't the Americans call it a quagmire?
I've no idea. I watch so much American TV, my brain's... I still struggle to remember whether it's schedule or schedule.
I don't know that. But then that's what about, you don't say vitamin or anything like that?
No.
You don't say semester?
No.
Oh, no, they say semester now, don't they, over here? Don't they?
Possibly. Well, they say... Do you call your shows seasons? Do you think in seasons?
Yeah. But then that's... but then
that's been adopted.
Well, there's a reason for that, isn't there? Because they don't link up. Isn't a series like things in a series? Isn't it? Aren't they in a? What's the difference between a series and a serial? I don't know that either. Because the Americans refer to a serial.
A serial is one narrative stretched over multiple episodes. A series is just a set of programs that was produced in one go.
I really should know this, shouldn't I?
Surely, I don't know. I'm guessing.
I really should. Surely this is basic stuff. And what is a program? It's sort of really basic stuff, isn't it? That I should know. Yeah, and we call them seasons, but then why not?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't get too hung up about.
I got off the politics of progress and
onto the semantics of shows. Yeah. Well, that's because it's more interesting.
Do you spend a lot of time in America?
No. The running joke we have on the show is that if we're filming anywhere nice, I don't get to go.
Okay.
Basically. And also we've never shot in America. We've had things set in America, but they've always been shot elsewhere. So we've shot in South Africa and Canada and places like that for America. But I usually, when that's happening, I'm here writing. Basically, because I'm usually panicking and trying to catch up and just typing at night. I did go to Iceland.
And stood around in a big coat saying, yes, more of that.
I didn't say any of the yes, more of that. I stood around in a really big coat because they had record snowfall. It's a bit weird being on set and knowing that if there's something that you don't like the look of, you can intervene and change it ultimately, but you also want to sort of hang back and
You'd make yourself unpopular if you did.
Exactly, you can make yourself... But sometimes you kind of have to, because there's often a logical thing. There's often a sort of, in Black Mirror, there's certainly often a logical reason why a certain thing must happen or mustn't happen, and so sometimes I think people can kind of lose sight of that, so you have to be really pedantic. And so we go, well, of course he wouldn't know that. That wouldn't be his point of view because it's not really happening because he's actually a USB key that's been lost down the back of a sofa. That's actually, I think you'll find what's going on here. So you have to sort of sometimes chip in with that sort of bilge.
Yeah. What about the episodes like what everyone calls the Star Trek episode, first of season 4?
Yeah.
Where was that shot?
That was Twickenham Studios.
Was it?
So the spaceship was all at Twickenham Studios. So I did get to go. I was there quite. It was really freezing cold. It was literally. It was January.
The production values on that were incredibly high. So where's that? Was that a British VFX team then?
Yeah, it was Frame Store.
It looked so good.
It did look like a proper sort of thing, didn't it? That's
really
quite
did.
weird. Yeah.
So what's the name of the main guy? He was
Jesse Plemons.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, he's really good. He's really, really good. I mean, they were all. We were really lucky with the cast there. They were all excellent. He's particularly. I'm sounding like I'm now on a junket. Everyone was a really bloody big happy family. It was all great. No, but he is really nice. Yeah. I remember him. We had to Skype with him before. So often, when you're going to cast somebody or you're trying to persuade somebody to take part in something, we end up Skyping with them, which is a bit weird. We Skyped with him, and I remember he went outside for a cigarette during the Skype, which I was still impressed by, even though I don't smoke anymore.
Yeah.
I found that sort of, I don't know, I was impressed by that.
I know.
He took the laptop outside and sort of smoked.
Come on, Jesse, and he's an LA guy as well.
Yeah.
I think that is impressive.
Yeah.
I'm not suggesting that smoking is cool. Listeners, don't give me a hard time, all right? I'm just saying that, well, I am saying it's cool. I'm saying smoking's cool.
Smoking is... I bet he's quit now because he's about to become a dad.
Right. Okay.
So, I bet he quits. I used to smoke like a fucker. I used to smoke 60 a day.
Did you?
Yeah, and that takes real commitment. I used to smoke in the shower.
Shut up.
Genuinely. I would sometimes wake up in the middle of the night, have a cigarette and go back to sleep. I know.
How old are you at this point?
25. I started smoking when I was 20 and I stopped when I was 25 because I'd got up to 60 a day and I thought this is sick.
Yeah.
To smoke in the shower, you'd hold it in one hand and you'd wash with the other hand, and then you pass it over, keeping it sort of out of the rain of the shower, and then you'd swap it round and you'd wash with the other one hand. And then usually where I was smoking, there was a toilet within fag lobbing distance. I'm sure on more than one occasion I probably had more than one cigarette in the shower. I reckon. That's how horrifically addicted I was.
Were you thinking, this is the life?
No, I knew it was disgusting. I knew it was shameful. Like, while doing it, I probably was groaning. Like, oh, what am I doing? I might as well be shitting myself as well. Should I just shit myself while I'm here? Might as well shit myself and wash myself with the shit. It was sort of...
And was it easy to give up?
No.
Oh, man,
no.
I remember you being on the Patches.
I was on Patches, because I met you years and years... I mean, we can talk about that, but I met you years later after that. Because I'd started again then, and I went back. I first gave up using Patches, which you have really vivid dreams.
You were the first person to tell me that.
Mm-hmm. They were sort of huge in scale. They were like blockbusters. I remember having a dream... I had a giant cannon and I was in space and I was firing planets into other planets, and they were exploding. There's probably some terrible symbolism going on there, but it was all happening. It was like massive 3D widescreen. It was amazing.
I think we got in touch with you hoping that you might contribute to the process of making the Adam and Joe show, which me and Joe did. And once we got to, I think, the third or fourth series that we did, we were like, Jesus Christ, we need some more ideas.
So that must have been about 1999, I'm guessing. 1998, 1999. That sounds right. It must have been about then. So I was about 28. I'd been presenting a sort of video games program, computer program on BBC Knowledge.
Oh, yeah.
As it was called then, as BBC 4 used to be called. But I hadn't done any TV... I wanted to do sort of TV comedy writing and things like that. So I was really flattered, I remember. And I remember coming in for a sort of ideas meeting. There was you and Joe, and Louis Theroux was there.
Right, because we only ever had two of those. That was our attempt to try and emulate the American
I see.
model of having a writer's room and generate material that way. Yeah. And I think we got very little out of it, because it's just that thing of your sensibility, especially if you make... Our stuff was all homemade and it was shared jokes, and there's an art to taking somebody else's ideas and doing it your way. Yeah. And we hadn't really mastered that art at that point.
It's we don't really have writers' rooms on Black Mirror. We've occasionally done sort of brainstorming sort of things.
You write the majority of the episodes.
Yeah. Because it's such an authored show, it's quite idiosyncratic, and so you end up... Somebody can have an idea that's perfectly good, but it doesn't quite fit into your version of it. Either that or it's just I'm a weird control freak. I can't quite work out which one it is. I guess with our show, it's because every episode is different. It helps, actually, if there's a couple of minds across all of them. It does give it some consistency somewhere, even if it's not in the casting or the location or the tone even. There's some flavour somewhere that's the same. No, I remember that one of the funniest things I think I've ever seen on TV is People Place.
Oh yeah, that was
People Place.
That was our spoof of kind of daytime.
Everything that it was sort of every BBC One sort of 11:30 AM sort of show.
It was inspired particularly by a show called Shopping City, which was set in a mall. I don't know if it was always the same mall. Our People Place thing would go to a different mall each time. Yeah. And the presenter of Shopping City would run around, and basically it was exactly the same as our thing.
Right.
Have little challenges, little games over by Dixon's or whatever, and then they'd run over to the fashion outlet. Everything was at this breathless pace.
Yeah.
Come on, let's go. You're on the spot. What's in your bag? Etc., etc. And we didn't really have to do too much.
No, I remember particularly a bit where you were impressed by a sort of mug tree.
Oh, yes.
Give it a whiz and mugs there is. Yeah. Anyway.
That's good. I'm glad you like that.
I can't remember why I said that. I was just complimenting you.
That's very nice. Thanks. I'll take it. And then you... and then I think the next contact we had with you was possibly when you were preparing to do Nathan Barley. Yes. Do you remember when we sat in a cafe in Poland Street? You, me, Chris Morris and Joe. And we looked at copies of ID.
Right. God, I can't remember. That's one of these... Because the process of making that show lasted forever. Sorry, that's my phone. That's a number I don't recognise. I might have to answer it just a sec. Hang on. Hello? Who's that? From who? Oh, go away.
It's a robot one.
It's a robot one.
Those are unbelievable.
The new ones that go, hello?
Yeah.
Hello?
Hello?
Yes.
There's a little gap and you're like, yeah, hello. And then it kicks off.
I've got information about your accident. Yeah, that's what it was. So I'm always like, oh my God, that's the school. One of the kids has fallen over or something like that. Yeah, fucking bastards. Yeah, no, so Nathan Barley, the gestation period for that was so long, I was convinced this is never going to happen. Because we were talking about it before the Brass Eye Pedos special.
Right.
And that was like 2001.
Yeah.
And Nathan Barley went out in 2005. So there was a long period where me and Chris would just meet up and talk about it. And I'd not really written many TV things before. And I was like,
That was your first narrative thing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Chris is someone who's really good, I think, actually, at doing that thing of using people for their ideas. But, like he's very good at... He sort of thrives on that quite a bit. Or he's good at tuning in to somebody's sensibility.
Yeah, finding the funny.
Exactly.
I found the funny in this.
That's how he'd say it. I think. Yeah. Whoops! I've just bumped up against a big chunk of funny. That's how he talks.
Thanks for today. A lot of funny. A lot of funny. See you tomorrow.
Yeah. So that must have probably been during the period when I thought this is surely never going to happen, this show, because it's been years now. We're just sort of talking about it. It's like, I don't know that this is ever going to happen. And then it was suddenly actually happening.
What was your Nathan Barley thing in TV Go Home based on that?
In the 90s, I'd been living in a flat in Notting Hill, and it was a flat that I should not have been able to afford to rent, basically. And I lived there with a friend of mine, and we lived in this tiny flat, and it's because it only had one room, and so we had to convert the living room into one of the bedrooms every evening, sort of thing. And I was working at the Computer Exchange as a shop assistant in Rathbone Place, or Whitfield Street and then Rathbone Place. But the area I was living in, I guess it was becoming gentrified at the time, I'm not quite sure, but certainly I was aware that quite suddenly there were lots of sort of people standing around outside pubs talking loudly about screenplays they were claiming to be doing and things like this. And I was just full of angry resentment. I just thought all these people knew how to get what they wanted and were doing it and were standing outside a pub loudly bragging about it while I was on my way off to work, and how fucking unfair is the universe, and I bet they're not doing that fucking screenplay anyway, though, cunts. So it was sort of that. So it was channeling that sort of aggression and resentment. And so I was quite angry a lot of the time. I would either be angry because you'd watch something on TV and you'd think, oh, that's terrible. How come they got to do that? Yeah. Or it was really good, and then you'd think, oh, I could never do that. Ah, God! And so you couldn't win, really, unless you found something that was just mediocre enough.
And the answer is to sort of make your own niche, isn't it, really?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, weirdly, I suppose what happened was I managed to channel that anger into something, because the TV Go Home listings were really angry.
They were, the rage just radiated from the screen.
But then I've always found that quite funny. I mean, it's always like a funny, in my head, and the tone of that is sort of similar to when I was doing TV review columns in The Guardian.
Yes.
Similarly sort of unreasonably angry.
Yeah.
Is the sort of basic joke is that the anger is basically unreasonable. Sometimes it was genuine anger, and it was usually based on something, but I would ramp it up to
whip yourself into a pitch of furious indignation
until it would just become funny and sort of ridiculous. It's like a ridiculous level of anger. So but
then some people tend to take that literally, don't they?
Yeah. I remember getting an email from a reader once, and they'd said, I've written a piece that I think you'll think is funny. And they attached it, and it was all about Kerry Katona. And it was just like this horrible sort of like, yeah, she's a bitch, and sort of laughing about her sort of personal problems and things like that. And I thought, oh, is that what people think I'm doing? Is that what... So he thinks I'll like that. Maybe this isn't being received in the way I think it is, what I'm doing all the time. I don't know if that was just one person's slightly odd interpretation.
Were you ever the kind of person that went online and ranted in chat forums about stuff?
Not really, no.
And so do you ever visit those places now and find out what people think about Black Mirror and look at the best to worst list of all Black Mirror episodes?
I have looked at those, yeah. I mean, it's like you sort of can't not look at those in a way. I mean, some people say never look at... Like, I think there is an assumption, and this is what I used to do in the 90s. The core assumption I made that was wrong was I would watch things on TV and I would assume that the people making them were slapping themselves on the back.
Yes.
And going, oh, we're brilliant, I'm a genius, this is the best I could possibly do. And then, of course, as soon as you start making anything yourself, you realise that it's difficult, or there's compromises, or things go wrong, or you don't have enough money or enough time, or there's so many things that get in between. So when you read a sort of criticism which the person is assuming that you think what you've done is peerless and brilliant, that can be quite irritating, because of course you know what the flaws in anything that you're making are. I think I'm better at just ignoring it now.
Yeah.
Because you sort of have to. And because when you're writing constantly, you're like thinking, this is shit. Oh, God.
What's the process? You think of an idea.
You'll think of an idea.
And then do you just bash out the first draft that is just there for structural purposes and you don't get hung up on each line, or how does it work?
Well, it's a bit more... So what happens is... So Annabelle, who's the co-showrunner, Annabelle Jones is my co-showrunner, and what happens is we'll be yabbering, and I'll say, oh, here's an idea, so what if the internet had a temper? And she'll go, what do you mean? And we'll expand it from there. That's the one thing that annoys me, is when people go, oh, that's the Black Mirror, is that show about computers are bad for you. Yeah, I know that. Thanks, mate. Oh, what's this show that we're looking at our phones too much? I know that. Thanks, Pat. Like, I don't fucking know how ridiculous a lot of the concepts are. Fuck you. I'm pissing myself, you fucking cunt. So often it's a silly idea, basically. Fucking, yeah, cunts. So often it's a silly idea, and then once you sort of know when you've got a story, you know when it's become a sort of story, once you know what the ending is, basically, I'll write up a sort of 2-page synopsis of it, send that to Netflix. That forces you to... I never used to be that structured. I'd make things up as I went along. Yeah. But they'll come back with feedback on it. But that forces you to think of what the actual story is in a basic way. And then I write the first draft as quickly as I can, and I can be really quick. I've written episodes in like 2 days or something like that, and other times it takes weeks, or, you know.
And what about the plotting of the thing? Do you sort of work backwards? Do you have your board full of cards and shift those around? Or
it really depends on the sort of thing it is. Quite often our stories tend to be quite simple. So it's often like somebody is stuck in a trap of some description, and there's a logical progression to what goes on. But sometimes when we've done more complicated ones where there's all sorts of logic involved, then you have to sort of get the flow chart out pretty much.
Okay.
San Junipero, which was the one that was set in the 1980s, that's a lot of people's favourite. It's a romance set in the 1980s.
Oh, that's the one I haven't seen, but I read about.
You haven't seen that? That's the one everyone likes, you fool. You should watch that one. That was really quite... That was a weirdly quick one to write. And we're doing some more at the moment. So, because people came to expect the show to be nihilistic and bleak and have a horrible ending, and for people to be left devastated at the end of each episode, once you've established that as a pattern, it's quite difficult to A, maintain it, and B, not get bored of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But equally, I'm aware that if we just did 6 happy endings, that's also not really what you come to watch the show for. Mm-hmm. So when we're looking at a season, I guess it's like putting an album together and going, where's the love song and we need a sort of angry rock track? Is that how they talk when they're putting an album together?
Yeah.
Where's Where's the angry rock track?
That's
here?
what Radiohead talk about.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
Okay, where's the love song, Tom? You're going to write some love lyrics?
I was impressed by the fact that you had Jodie Foster directing an episode.
Yes.
Holy Christmas. Did you meet her?
Well, yes.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. And she was very nice. We had to Skype with her first. That was quite weird because it's Jodie Foster on the screen. And
Yeah.
I'm talking to her. That's the future. You know what? She seems very, very, very normal. Like, for someone who's like been in the public eye since they were, 3?
Yes.
Which is crazy.
And had so many strange twists and turns in their professional life, not
Exactly.
least that whole horrible Hinckley.
She has that. I mean,
John Hinckley had seen Taxi Driver.
and he tried to assassinate Ronald Reagan to impress Jodie Foster,
That's right.
which parallels what Travis Bickle, Robert De Niro's character, does in Taxi Driver. He tries to rescue Jodie Foster's character from a brothel, or from a pimp.
From Harvey Keitel.
From Harvey Keitel. It's a seedy film, isn't it?
It's shockingly violent. I saw it recently again. I watched it. You watch these things sometimes in your teenage years when you're just consuming everything, give me everything. And you're like, yeah, bounces off you. And then I saw it again, about 10 years ago, but still I was like, whoa, it's
really
extreme.
But then I remember, you see, Taxi Driver, that's an interesting one, because how sensibilities change over time. So Taxi Driver, I remember watching when I was a teenager, and the reason I wanted to watch it was because I'd heard this is nasty.
Yeah.
It's a nasty, shocking, dark, you're reeling out of the room, being sick and crying. I would seek out films that were horrible and disturbing.
Me and Joe were like that too.
Yes, what's that about? And now, I remember I don't know if it's becoming a parent or what it is. You know that point when your kids are like really young and there's a point where you just don't get any sleep at all, no spare time at all whatsoever to yourself. Any spare moment you have is precious. And even enough time to watch a film is a bit of a novelty and a treat. And I remember one night, I think it's just after we'd moved in here and our kids had actually gone to sleep, Connie and I were like, what should we do? We could watch a film. Let's watch a movie. And I'm like, yeah. Oh, there's a film that's just gone on. It's like a rare Australian film from the 70s that apparently is like really good. And what I'd heard was it was disturbing. And it was called Wake in Fright. Have you ever seen Wake in Fright?
Never heard of it.
Wake in Fright is exactly the sort of film I would have probably liked when I was 17, 18 years old. It's horrible. It's so uncomfortable. It's about a teacher in Australia who finds himself in this small sort of Australian equivalent of a redneck town, and everyone there is disturbing, drinks a lot, there's a lot of drugs and fighting. There's a sequence in the middle where they get drunk and go in a jeep and drive out into the outback and start shooting kangaroos dead. And it's real footage of real kangaroos being blasted apart.
Oh my God.
Live kangaroo. It's like unwatchably horrifying. Connie was like, why did you make me watch that? And I'm like, I don't know. I've spoiled the evening. We should have just watched Bake Off. Anything. I love watching. I'll watch MasterChef, things like that.
Yeah, man, we watched Great British Bake Off, the celebrity one for Stand Up to Cancer the other day with Harry Hill and Roisin Cornety and people like that on there. It was really funny.
Are you tempted to Bake Off?
Be on it?
Yeah.
I don't think I would get the call, but if I did, wouldn't be averse.
Yeah, it'd be good. I'd see you on Bake Off.
Harry Hill was really funny because he did his best. His cakes were really good.
Oh, he was genuinely good?
I think so. He just really tried hard. I think that's what I would do. That would be my tactic.
I'd be too insecure.
Yeah.
I'd go, I'm shit at that. I'd fucking defecate into the pan or something.
Would you ever do a reality show? It would be weird though, wouldn't it?
It would be really weird.
After where you came from and
I
everything.
know, it would be... And I've been asked. I don't think I would, mainly because of the toilets. Like, I wouldn't do Big Brother because of the toilet situation.
What do you mean?
Well, you know what it's like? I don't like going to the toilet in somebody else's house. Like it's...
Because you're a germaphobe.
Not because I am a germaphobe,
Yeah.
but because it's shameful, isn't it?
What do you mean?
Well, shitting is a shameful activity.
Oh, I see.
Right? It's shameful. So, if you're in somebody else's house, you don't go... If you're staying there for a couple of days and they've only got like one loo, it's like a fucking minefield. And imagine being in the Big Brother house with a load of celebrities and cameras everywhere and microphone. You're mic'd up and there's only one little toilet that they all have to use. So you have to go in there. Everyone in there knows that you've gone for a shit, like when you've gone for a shit. You'd have to time it really. I don't like shitting on a plane. I don't like shitting in a public toilet. The only way I can shit in a public toilet is if I'm listening to music and I put earphones in and then I can blast away. It's like it's not really happening. Do you know what I mean?
But you don't like the idea of other people imagining you doing your business. Is that it?
I think so. Don't you have this?
No.
What?
That's one of the very few hang-ups I don't have.
What? I think it's surely quite common. I remember... But if you're in a public toilet, right, doing a poo, that's not an unusual scenario. So you just nod at that. You're just like, oh yeah, of course, yeah.
It's happened. I'm not I know what you mean.
Would you hold it? If you could, would you wait till you got home?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course you would, because you're not an animal.
But I don't mind. Every now and again, it will occur to me like, oh, I don't need to hold this. There are public toilets. They have lockable doors.
Oh, yeah. But...
And the other thing is, especially in airports for some reason,
yes.
I think you go in there and everyone's just a big windbag. They've got off the plane or pressure or something. And so you go into a airport toilet and it's just... from every cubicle. Yeah. And everyone's like, doesn't matter.
That's where I learnt the music in the ears trick. Was because exactly that I was at an airport in between two connecting flights and I had to go because it was it was like it was impaled on a banister. I was like that feeling where it's just like there's a sort of clay spine wedged inside me and I've got to get it out and so like I went in there and I was and everyone around me was merrily shitting away like. Pretty much, it was like a musical, like the joie de vivre with which they were just fucking emptying their bums, and I'm there really all hung up, and I had to put loud music on so I couldn't hear my own noises, and then I just let it went for it. It was sort of life affirming.
What about the jungle? Would you go in the jungle?
No, similar reason. Well, no, two reasons. One, they're shitting in a hole, aren't they, basically?
Yeah.
And they're always talking about it.
How about Bear Grylls Island? You're on there for longer, but it's less... It's not fixed rig cameras. It's not constant surveillance in that same way.
There should be a guide to the comfort of the shit versus the show. That would be my first question to the producers, is where does the... I mean, not that I ever shit, because that's a shameful thing, but where would I? If I had to on Bear Grylls Island, does he watch me? Does he have to coach me through it? Does he cradle my face?
Charlie's taking an amazing shit.
That's
it. Really good. It's coming out brilliantly. So important to take a shit every few hours. Keep your energy up. And Charlie's taking a great one.
That would be the worst. No, I wouldn't, because I think it would probably involve insects. I don't like spiders either. Okay. I'm sure that I wouldn't go in the jungle for that reason, because they're like, oh, you don't like spiders? Well, for this challenge, we're going to put spiders under your eyelids. And put one up your bum, and down your willy, and your clothes. Your pants are full of spiders. Oh, you're going to be sick. There's a lot of being sick on there, so you're going to be sick. You're going to be sick. Mouthful of spiders, you're going to be sick. So, no, I wouldn't do it for all those reasons.
Hello, my friend, it's good to see you again. I got to say, you're looking great. I love what you've done with your nipples and your knees and your shiny bald pate.
I listened to you on Desert Island Discs.
That's a fun thing to do.
Yeah, was it?
She was really nice as well. She was, because I read somebody going, I saw somebody going, oh God, it's really awkward. She seems to hate him.
Oh no, I didn't get that.
Right, oh, she said, well, if she did, she hid it really, really well. It's really difficult picking your 8 songs, though. That's a nightmare. Afterwards, I thought, oh, I should have put this in. I should have put that in. You end up, because you don't try and choose just your 8 favourite. Really, you're supposed to sort of... They don't really explicitly say this, but you know you're meant to choose 8 tracks that will help tell a story about your life. So, I mean, I listen to a lot of music, but I tend to listen to instrumental music a lot of the time while writing.
I remember you introduced me to Grandaddy.
Oh, did I?
Yeah, because that was the theme for Screenwipe.
Yeah.
From the Software Slump.
Yeah.
And
it's a very good album, that.
It's really good.
Yeah.
You played a video game track on Desert Island Discs.
Yes, RoboCop. The Ariston ad, as well as it's known.
Yeah, I love all that music. There's something about how simple it is and the fact that it loops.
Yeah.
I
used to listen to that from off the Game Boy like it was a Walkman.
Yeah.
Basically, just that looping round and round and round. I found it sort of haunting. I've got a sort of playlist that I've built for writing. It's all things like Pi Corner Audio and and Spotify is amazing because you sort of build a playlist and then it will just go.
What's Pi Corner Audio?
Like lots of boom, boom, boom. Like a bit Radiophonic Workshop meets Halloween.
Yes.
Basically, or The Thing.
And Stranger Things.
It's that sort of tone. So there's a lot of stuff like that I'll write to because I find that helps somehow because you want to get into that space where you've lost track of time, basically. And if there's lyrics when I'm writing, that distracts me. And often I don't like singers. There's a weird thing. There's very few singers I like, I realised.
Oh, really?
Because I think they're cunts. Do you know what I mean? Like, quite often, when British singers do a sort of transatlantic, that, oh, yeah, that accent that British singers. Which, weirdly, I really like Radiohead, even though Tom York sort of does it a bit, doesn't he?
I'm trying to think.
But then he sings in such an unusual JPEG sort of way. We had a spoof Radiohead song we used to sing at Zeppotron called JPEG.
JPEG?
Which was JPEG. That was part of the lyric. There was another lyric that was I can't remember.
Why
JPEG? Because it sounded like it was around Kid A time.
Okay,
It sounded like
Techno Fear.
Yeah, JPEG.
Listening to Desert Island Disc Set was funny how similar your experiences, especially your formative cultural experiences, were to mine. Watching too much TV, check. Ending up screaming at the TV, check. Worrying about the end of the world, massive tick.
Yeah.
Because even though you were born a couple of years after me, I think you had that same experience of being consumed by nuclear fear. And we were exactly the right age to have nightmares about that slew of programs.
When the Wind Blows. Yeah.
The Old Men at the Zoo, do you remember that one?
I didn't see that, no.
That was a bit more of a strange BBC play. It was a bit more allegorical. But certainly The Day After.
Threads.
Yeah.
Did you ever see the QED? A Guide to Armageddon?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I got that. When we were doing Screenwipe, I dug it up out of the archive. And
did that incorporate some of the public information films about how you were supposed to take the door off the hinges and hide under there?
It showed you how rubbish that was.
Okay.
It showed you how useless, how that wouldn't basically help. That you'd just die in a pit screaming in your own shit. No, but there's a bit in that where they intercut photographs of people's faces, just candid photos, just random people in the street, fast intercut with a sort of loin of pork hanging on a hook being exposed to the temperatures that a nuclear blast would generate. So it's just all this crackling, bubbling, burning flesh intercut really quickly with pictures of just average members of the public. I remember seeing that. I must have been 11. I was not in a good place after that. And it seemed inevitable, didn't it? It seemed absolutely like it was definitely going to happen.
The most nightmarish thing for me was how blasé everyone was.
Yes, absolutely.
Why isn't everyone crying or talking about this or trying to sort it out all the time?
Yeah. Why isn't this number one on the news?
Yeah.
It's still happening, everyone. Nuclear bombs are still a thing. No, I could never understand that. It's exactly that. How can anyone walk around and think about kitchens? What's the point in getting some wallpaper? How's that wallpaper going to look when it's fucking burning off the wall, you cunt? What's wrong with you? Get a fucking grip. That's what it seemed like, because it seemed like a crisis.
But then you grow up and you realise, well, that's life anyway, though, isn't it?
I guess. I mean, I don't know how I feel at the moment. I keep worrying about the end of the world a bit at the moment. Not really. I don't worry about the end of the world, because actually I sort of worry less about nuclear war now, oddly. It's more, oh God, what if it all turns into a giant fascist state. That's the. But then I try and console myself by thinking that all the things I've worried about never quite happened. How would you cope in a post-apocalyptic environment, do you think? How long would you bother?
No, I'd be dead. I would be gone.
By your own hand? Or...
No, I'd just be one of the first to go. Like have you ever been and done paintballing or anything like that?
Laser tag?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just do those things and I immediately die.
Oh, I immediately get quite killy.
Do you?
Yeah, I'm not great at that, but I really want to kill people when I do those things.
Yeah, no, I've done it now a few times at Centre Parks when I go with my boys, and now, I mean, I was upset last time we went, they changed the whole playing field round. I was like, holy Christ, there's like 5 years worth of tactics down the toilet. I had my favourite tree where I used to go and hide and pick people off.
But surely it's meant to be, if it's training you for a post-apocalyptic environment, which is, I'm sure, what Centre Parks have in mind, then really, surely part of that is to expect the unexpected. You should be able to wander into any kind of killing arena and just look around and immediately assess it. You can't expect, after the bomb goes off and you're wandering around in the fucking wilderness, to have your tree and your sort of layout that you want. You fucking... Who do you think you are?
This is what I'm saying. This is why I'm going to die. Because there won't be a convenient bundle of sticks over by the tyres.
I think I would immediately kill myself. I think I would immediately... It depends on the degree of the calamity. Yeah. If it was clear that there was never going to be Wi-Fi ever again... I would kill myself. I think most people would. Because what's that fucking point? Really, what would it be to make it not worth living anymore? I mean, and maybe Wi-Fi is a bit too lower bar, but no hot water. You have to live in a cave for the rest of you're alive.
I'm not worried about those scenarios.
Well, living in a cave?
Yeah.
What, you'd be okay with that?
Sure. Cave painting, games...
Games? Yeah. What sort of games?
Just word games.
Right.
Scratching, noughts and crosses on the wall with a bit of charcoal. And then you start drawing and, it's like you got all...
Yeah, you're painting a rosy picture.
You've got a wealth of human knowledge to help you start again and build your own utopia from scratch.
I think it's beyond that, though, isn't it? Because you can't now. Now you'd have to look stuff up on Wikipedia or something, and you can't do that. I could probably work out how to start a fire.
Yeah. I could, because I've watched so many Bear Grylls programs.
Oh, that's what I haven't done.
You need to do that, mate. I could drink my own piss, I could start fires, I could forage grubs.
Why do you drink your own piss?
Cockroaches.
Is drinking your own piss actually worthwhile? Does it keep you alive?
No, I just plucked that out. But you can certainly drink. The other day, he was in the desert in Arizona, and half of it seemed to be just completely fixed.
Right.
I jumped out of a plane in a flight suit, and now I'm down in Arizona in the desert. It's incredibly hot, he said at one point. It's like an incredibly dry oven. As opposed to a damp oven. It's like an incredibly dry oven down here. We come across the wreckage of a small microlight that could possibly have been used to ferry drugs. A lot of people ferry drugs in this part of the world. But this is great because there's a lot of aluminium tubing that could be very useful to us. And so first of all, he rigged up a little buggy from the three wheels of this crashed microlight.
That's a fix, isn't it?
That they stumbled across.
Like he's the A-team.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And he had his parachute that he jumped out of the plane in. He grabbed onto the parachute and he was pulled along by the wind across the desert using his improvised buggy that he'd made from the crashed microlight. And then he had to find water. The most important thing is to find water. You got to get water. It's the rule of 3. You can live for 3 minutes without air, 3 days without water, or 3 weeks without food. You need water. You're only going to live for 3 days without water.
That's the rule of 3.
That's Bear Grylls' rule of 3. He finds a stagnant pond. It's green and it's got insects jumping around in it. Water! We found some. Now it looks horrible, it stinks, and it's filthy. But using one of the aluminium poles from the microlight, I can make a filter and drink the water from this stagnant pond.
Well, so hang on. If he hadn't found this fucking microlight, he'd have been... So it's the whole thing's a con.
It is a con. You need to find a crashed microlight, otherwise you're dead.
He's a fucking... What What a liar.
But if you find the microlight, if you've got a pole, or even he said you can do it with bamboo if you haven't got a pole from a microlight.
Which you haven't, because that would never happen.
Which you're highly unlikely to. But if you do have some sort of cylinder or straw, you jam a bit of charcoal down. You can always find some charcoal in the desert because the lightning strikes and causes fires, and then there's charcoal. So find a bit of charcoal.
And make a filter.
And you stuff it in the pipe, and then you put a few rocks down it and a bit of straw, and then you can use the whole thing. You just suck the water up through this pipe. And then he goes, and then just for a bit of extra filtration, you can take your sock off and put your sock over the end of it and suck it through the straw. Doesn't taste good, but it's going to keep you alive.
That's good information to know.
I mean, that's what I'm going to be doing in the apocalypse. In the course of vaguely reminding myself of some of the stuff I used to play video game-wise, I came across this thing about Custer's Revenge. Did you ever hear of this video game?
Custer's Revenge was a sex game.
Yeah.
We did a games sort of edition of Screenwipe called Gameswipe.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I think we saw it as part, or it came up as part of that. Can't remember if we put it in the show. It was like a rude game.
It was beyond rude.
There were quite a few. I mean, it was actually, yes, it was.
Adult video game produced by Mystique for the Atari 2600, released in 1982. In the game, the player controls the character of Custer, General Custer, depicted as a man wearing nothing but a cavalry hat, boots, and a bandana, sporting a visible erection. Custer has to overcome arrow attacks to reach the other side of the screen. His goal is to have sex with a naked Native American woman tied to a pole.
Jesus Christ. I mean, that sounds like extreme satire, doesn't it?
The game's designer, Joel Miller, said Custer was, quote, seducing the maiden, and that she was a, quote, willing participant. Ultimately, the game was withdrawn from circulation.
I didn't... Right, I hadn't realised it was a commercially available product.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
Ranked 10th on the list of most racist video games in history.
There were quite... I seem to remember that we found... There was another game where it was like Space Invaders, but it was like reverse Space Invaders. There were sort of dicks in the sky, spitting semen down, and you were somebody at the bottom swallowing it. To sort of go left and right with and open your mouth and eat it. It's weird. They don't really do that now, do they, with games?
Do they not?
Well, I don't think so. I'm sure you could get some weird things from Japan. So maybe it's because you wouldn't. There's fewer. Where would a game like that come out? Do you know what I mean? I suppose
as if I see quite a few X-rated adverts for naughty games every now and again.
Do
when
you?
I'm in the wrong places on the internet.
Right, you see, maybe I'm just too clean living. Like what? What, like sort of, you are a bum.
Like...
3D bum simulator. You're a bum. You're a bum going through you have to avoid other bums and bash against some boobs.
No, it's
3D
nothing.
bum and boob breakout. Boobulon. What, like
it's nothing that
nude
upbeat.
Warcraft? Like,
Yeah, exactly.
Right, oh, okay. It's weird, you don't really get much sexual activity happening in games generally, do you?
I never understood the desire to fuse those two worlds. It's like, one is over there for that time, and one is over there for that. I don't need to think about sex while I'm having video games.
But I can see the appeal of a silly sort of like the classic knob doodle in the margins of an exercise.
No, but
like,
nowadays, though, it's so sophisticated that it would probably
it'd be
like
disturbing.
virtual porn.
Yes, it would be horrible. Yes, it would be just weird.
Yeah, and there must be a load of stuff like that, surely. And
3D porn
Oculus...
games? You mean VR pornography games?
Surely. Isn't that the first thing that's always done with any new bit of technology?
It's pornography.
Porn, yeah. It'll be like that bit in Brainstorm when the guy's got a tape of someone shagging a young...
Right. I've never seen Brainstorm, but I know the storyline because I was worried that something we were doing was too similar to Brainstorm. So do they put it through an amplifier or something? And maybe that was the thing I was suggesting in the story, was that you could record the experience of somebody having sex and amplify it.
This guy takes the safety protocols off.
Right.
So that his heart rate is allowed to just go where it will. And,
Right.
And it's this old guy who gets a tape of someone having sex, and he puts
Right.
the brain box on and
dies.
Imagines that he's having sex, but his old ticker can't take it.
Right.
And it's a loop it's a sort of orgasm, greatest hits loop that this guy's given him.
Right.
So he's just like...
Well, because presumably you could, once you've got an experience once you can record a human experience, you could edit it into any fucking shape you wanted. So you could do that. You could give someone an orgasm that lasts for 6 weeks and goes backwards and upside down, this, that and the other. Or is a whole sort of like a choir of 20 people's orgasms all fused together in one sort of polyphonic orgasm. Or you could do things like you could record the experience of having a shit, but like fiddle with the parameters so that the shit is as wide as a car. And then make someone experience that. So you're shitting something the size of a car. And it would feel exactly what that would feel like. Do you think people would do it for like stag do's? Come on, Colin, we're going out, what are we doing? First you're going to shit a car. Then you're going to be fucking an elephant. From inside the body of a giraffe.
Brave New World.
Yeah, so we got that to look forward to. I don't know what the fucking hell. Can you imagine what it's going to be like being like a fucking teenage boy or something when that stuff's around? Like, what the fucking hell's that going to be like?
What are you going to do with your children and like the internet and all that shit?
So Covey, who's nearly 6, he's 5 at the moment, but he'd gone and switched the PlayStation on and was using my account. They rolled out some new feature where you could sort of follow people, a bit like on Twitter. And I only found this out a few days later. Someone had sort of followed me or him, because it's not under my name or anything. And he'd been communicating with them. And it was nothing sinister. It was somebody in America who lived in a town that was the same name as my screen name that I was using. And they were just conversing with him. And he was just responding with like, yes, no, because he couldn't, he's 5, he can't really type that much. So I had to have the people on the internet conversation with him. I wasn't anticipating having that when he was 5. I ended up showing him, remember the Charlie Says public information films from when we were kids, and it was the cat, the one with the puppies, the one with the Charlie and me were in the park and we were on the swings, and suddenly a man came up and said, would we like to see some puppies? And I said, yes. And it's really disturbing.
That's I showed that Prodigy sample, didn't they?
Yes. What? It's Kenny Everett, that was.
Was it?
It was Kenny Everett doing
the voice of the cat.
That was the Prodigy bit, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it really, I think it disturbed him, those cartoons. They're eerie. I showed him the young ones the other day.
Oh, how was that?
He was really laughing really quickly at Rick Mail dancing in the kitchen to the very first episode. He thought that was hilarious.
I'm smiling just thinking about it.
And then, like, quite quickly, there's a bit where Vivian, like, stamps up and down on his hamster and shoves it in a toaster. And I thought, oh, yeah.
Stamps on SPG.
Yeah. Should I show him this? I don't know. But then it was all right, because then the hamster eats all the lentils and swells up like a balloon and does a fart and flies around the room.
Yeah.
And he was laughing again.
Holy... I mean, I feel as if I could recite every single one of those episodes.
Nosing Around was in the...
Nosing Around.
That was, I think that was in the first one. That's like, it's mental to watch that show.
That was Ben Elton.
Ben Elton. If you're a young adult. Weird how there's weird phrases that stick in your head for years and years and years. The one that comes in, is always in my head from the young ones is, I'm tying my dog to the railroad track. The choo-choo train's gonna break his back. We used to call him Spot, but now he's called Splat. That's the kind of person we are. Oh, baby, won't you come home with me? It's weird.
And I didn't know what the hell it was all about. Because they were taking the piss out of sort of Rat Pack style crooners.
Yeah, but that goes straight over your head.
I don't know what that is.
I don't think I understood anything that Alexis Earle was saying.
No.
He'd come on and he'd start talking about Solzhenitsyn or something, and you're like, I don't know what, but I'm going with it. It's because I aspire to understand what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I don't know what the equivalent of that is today because I must have been, 11, 12 when that was on. I don't know what the equivalent for kids now is, I suppose. It must be on YouTube.
Right.
When he was a bit younger, Cody wanted to watch, like, Stampy Cat, who's a Minecraft YouTuber, all the time. And he's very wholesome. Stampy, hi everyone, hi, here we are in Minecraft again. And he laughs like Jimmy Carr, weirdly. Like, sort of always... It's like a car alarm. Or a squeaky bit of furniture in another room that somebody's fucking on. Something with a really jaunty tempo. I don't know where I've got onto that. But Stampede Cats. So I was like, what the fuck is this they're watching? What the fuck? And I sat there and watched it and went, and after about 25 minutes, sort of thought, oh, it's radio. Like, it's just somebody burbling away.
Yeah.
Just chat. It's just chat. That's actually what it is, isn't it? It's just the chat about the game. And then I sort of got it. So I was like, oh, okay, that's all right.
It's Friday night tonight. What are you going to be watching? Are you going to be watching anything on TV? Do you have any box sets on the go?
I tend to watch things on iPlayer now more than I do. Like, I don't tend to watch things as they get broadcast.
Yeah.
Inside Number 9 was the last thing I was watching and I really liked Man Like Mo Bean as well. I don't know if you saw that.
Oh yeah, that looks great with Gus Khan.
It's got some it's like a bit rough around the edges, but really confident, and there's some really good...
He's a funny guy. I follow him on Twitter.
Yeah. And some really, really great performances throughout in that. And it's like very, very... It's like so confident. Inside Number 9 was the most recent thing, I think, where I looked at it and I thought, that's so cleverly done. I don't know how... I could never do that. That's so cleverly... How the fuck did they do that? Do you know what I mean? Because you forget that doing it, you do the first draft and it's shit, and the second draft is a bit less shit, and you end up doing about fucking 15 drafts of everything without even realising it, and so it actually ends up... It looks like you were really clever by the time you get to the end, but you had to sort of get it wrong 100 times, and every time you start again, you have to trick yourself into thinking that you're only going to write one draft. Sorry, I'm rambling now.
No, but that's the secret, isn't it? It's
yeah.
like... If people knew how magic tricks were done, they'd all be disappointed because the secrets are so prosaic. It's like, you just have to...
Keep doing it. It's weird, though. It is weird because it is a thing that stops you writing in the first place, is thinking, well, this is shit. While you're writing it, you think this is shit, because it probably is shit compared to the stuff you've seen that's been gone through that process and been edited and polished. And you know, so it seems shit while you're doing it. And so it's like, on the one hand, you have to just finish it. You have to just finish it, and then you can start improving it. You have to sort of be in it for the long haul, but really, I always have to trick myself into thinking things are definitely going to happen. I can't really write a script if I think it's not going to get made. Do you know what I mean? I have to or it might not get made. I can't. And how when people go into the movie industry and they spend they'll write the screenplay, or you'll get screenwriters who've got like a drawer full of 20 scripts that have never been made.
Right.
How do you sit down and write the next one then? If that's why not just fucking jump out the window, mate? Push that window open, just fucking walk out, fuck it. Because what's the point? Look at all that. Those little universes you've thought up into that drawer, that living in that little drawer. What's the point of that? Fucking hell. So, do you know what I mean? But that's terrible, isn't it? I'm not advocating anyone should jump out of a window. God, you have to put disclaimers everywhere these days. I'm absolutely not suggesting that, because that would be a tragedy.
Wait. This is an advert for Squarespace. Welcome to the finale of Web Games with me, Jimmy Website. After 9 stupid weeks, we're down to just 2 contestants fighting to build their own website. The winner will be the one who loses the least amount of the world's most valuable commodities: time and patience. The websites must look professional and be easy to maintain. How's it going, Abby?
Pretty good, Jimmy. I'm using Squarespace to build my website, because you can do a free trial there and experiment with a wide variety of great-looking templates, into which you can easily add text, pictures, and videos.
How about you, Mike?
I'm not using Squarespace. I'm trying to set up an online store, and it's making me sad.
Oh, Mike, you're losing so much time. Your life is slipping away, dude. Brutal.
I've just finished my free trial, and I love my Squarespace website, so I'm gonna buy it. Oh, I'm being asked if I have an offer code. I'm gonna type in Buxton. I just saved 10% on my new Squarespace website with the offer code Buxton!
I just tore the last of my hair out.
Oh, sorry, Mike. You are a loser, and now you're gonna be dropped through the floor onto a mat, not far beneath the floor. You should have gone to squarespace.com/Buxton, you loser.
Don't worry, Mike. You still can.
Thank you.
Hey, welcome back, Podcats. Charlie Brooker there with the world-beating percussive Jimmy Carr laugh. And that was also Charlie providing the continue this week too. Thanks to Dan Hyman on Twitter for that suggestion. I just said Hyman, but that was his name, so What are you going to do? Thanks very much indeed to Charlie for interrupting his writing day in order to talk bullshit with me. I have now seen that episode of Black Mirror, San Junipero, that Charlie was scandalised I hadn't seen, and it's very good. I recommend it if you haven't seen it yourself. Anyway, thanks again to Charlie. Thanks as well to those of you who got in touch and told me about the bird at the end of last week's episode. It was like an Easter egg. After like and subscribe, for the hardcore of the hardcore who listen right to the end, you would have heard a recording of a bird that sounded as if it had been brought up by Josh Wink, the techno DJ. Here's a short blast of it once again. Sheila Larkin on Twitter, she says, Techno Bird at the end of podcast 75 is a skylark, a summer visitor. It nests in the grass. It's usually the first bird to start singing early morning, hence the term up with the lark. Smiley face. Thank you very much, Sheila, and everyone else who pointed that out to me. This was supposed to be the last in the current run of podcasts for a little while. I'm going to take a break for the summer and come back in the autumn with another set of weekly episodes. But Art Fund, who occasionally sponsor this podcast and are on a mission to encourage people to visit more of Britain's galleries and historical sites, etc., they got in touch and offered me the opportunity to walk around a London gallery with a friend of mine after hours and just chat about some of the art. Nothing, we're not like plugging Art Fund right the way through. We're just doing a normal podcast that happens to be in an art gallery. And my guest in the end was Tim Key, one of my favourite comedians, actors. So we recorded that just last week, and it'll go out towards the beginning of June as a sort of special edition of the podcast. And after that, break time. During that time, you might like to explore the Adam Buxton app. There's a wealth of Adam Buxton based fun to be had on there. Bonus episodes of this podcast, currently unavailable anywhere else. Links to all sorts of beyond brilliant videos that I've made over the years. Again, some of which can't be accessed any other way but the Adam Buxton app. There's some jingles on there. There's some of the sponsor ads on there. If you've enjoyed those in the past, you might find your favourite on the app. And of course, it's a portal from which you can leap to the merch site, where you'll find specially designed t-shirts and mugs and posters, stickers. There's little collections of some of the jingles there, available to download and keep. There's my DVD, available on Go Faster Stripe. The only DVD currently available of some of my live bits and pieces that I've done over the last few years. Not Bug, but similar to Bug in some ways. It's called Adam Buxton's Old Bits. So, if you miss me, you can check out that stuff. What do you think, Rose? You shaking off the ticks there?
I'm taking a walk in the dandelion clocks.
Yeah, just 2 weeks ago, this field was covered in bright yellow dandelions, and now they've all transformed into their fluffy clock versions. Time is marching on, and there's nothing we can do to stop it.
You're boring.
Is this about the ticks still?
You didn't even get to know them there. So one of them was really funny, the other one was nice and just listened to what I had to say.
Yeah, but they were sucking your blood all of that time and quite possibly giving you deer disease as well.
At least they paid attention to me.
What? How can you say that? I dote on you. My phone, listeners, the other day, I noticed that it used to be full up with pictures of my children. And in the last year, there's still a few pictures of my children there, but now it's mainly just pictures of trees, sunsets, and Rosie. That'll be what I call my pastoral album when it comes out. Anyway, thank you very much indeed once again to Charlie Brooker. Thanks to Seamus Murphy-Mitchell for his production support on this episode. Thanks to Acast for hosting this podcast and many other terrific ones. And thanks, of course, most of all, to you for listening right to the end, for listening at all, let's face it, and for your continued encouragement and open-minded support of the podcast. Very much appreciated. All right, let's head home. Rosie! Rosie! Rose! Till next time we're together, please go carefully, try to be nice, avoid ticks, and remember, I love you.
I added one more podcast to the giant podcast bin. Now you have plucked that podcast out and started listening. I took my microphone and found some human folk. Then I recorded all the noises while we spoke. My name is Adam Buxton, I'm a man. I want you to enjoy this, that's the plan.
Hey, how you doing, listeners? Adam Buxton here. Rosie, that's not a good idea. Rosie, there's a cow in the drive. Rosie, don't antagonize the cow. The cow is much, much bigger than you are. Yeah, that's wise. Rosie is now hiding behind me. The cow's got out of the field, which happens quite a lot, and is now stood on the drive behind our house. Okay, Rosie, here's what you should do. What? Fly over there and incinerate all those cows in a horrific and totally unjustifiable way.
Oh, right. Is this a Game of Thrones reference?
Yes.
Dogaris. Right, well, I'm going to just go gambling. You deal with the cows.
Have a good gamble. Come on. Let's just walk past the cow. Don't antagonize the cow. Rosie. Hello, cow. We mean no harm. We're just doing a podcast intro. Wow, that was quite scary. I'm going to have to call a farmer. Dogaris! Nothing. Okay, let me tell you about podcast number 93, which features a rambly conversation with the French-British actor and singer Charlotte Gainsbourg. By the way, if you'd rather head straight to the conversation, just skip forward around 6 minutes. For those of you remaining, I won't call you Remainers, I met Charlotte, currently aged 47, in December of last year, 2018, when she was in London playing some shows in support of her excellent 5th album, Rest. And in a secluded corner of a bar in the hotel where she was staying, we talked about Charlotte's ongoing struggle to be confident as a singer, her musical collaboration with Beck on her 2010 album IRM, and her enthusiasm for the music of Kanye West, which brought us onto the whole fun topic of separating the art from the artist. And during that bit of conversation, Charlotte mentioned the fashion magazine boycott of photographer Terry Richardson, who I didn't realise at the time is currently facing multiple allegations of sexual assault. We also talked a bit about Charlotte's film work, which is probably what takes up most of her time. She's appeared in over 50 films since she made her acting debut aged just 13 in 1984, but we focused on her work with Lars von Trier, who directed Charlotte in the 3 films that make up his Depression trilogy, so-called because it features characters dealing with depression in various ways. In 2009's Antichrist, a grieving couple played by Charlotte and Willem Dafoe retreat to a cabin in the woods where things go horrific and nutty. Willem Dafoe's nutties especially come in for some very harsh punishment. Although Charlotte's bits by no means escape unscathed, during its premiere in Cannes, there were several walkouts and at least 4 faintings. In 2011's Melancholia, Charlotte and Kirsten Dunst play 2 sisters, one of whom is preparing to marry just before a rogue planet collides with Earth. And in Nymphomaniac, released in 2013, Charlotte plays a woman experiencing a sexual awakening. And the film features several extremely explicit scenes, some of which feature Shia LaBeouf closely scrutinising Charlotte's Netherlands. But Charlotte has never shied away from work that some people find shocking, as you might expect, given that she is the daughter of English actor Jane Birkin and Serge Gainsbourg, one of the most celebrated yet controversial figures in French popular music, and indeed in good popular music. That's just a joke. French music is good. Among Serge Gainsbourg's many influential recordings is 1971's Histoire de Melody Nelson, which has left a clear imprint on the work of artists like David Holmes and Jarvis Cocker, as well as the French band Air, and indeed Beck. In the early 80s, when Charlotte was just 9, her parents' turbulent relationship ended, and her father spent his last decade behaving in ways that left many shocked and scandalised, especially by numerous drunken TV appearances, in which he seemed to delight in saying whatever would cause the most outrage. But outrage and provocation, albeit underpinned by jokes and wordplay that was lost on non-French speakers, was always one aspect of Serge Gainsbourg's work. I talked to Charlotte about 1969's Je t'aime, moi non plus, originally written for Gainsbourg's girlfriend Brigitte Bardot, though the final release, which features explicit lyrics and simulated sounds of female orgasm, was a duet between Gainsbourg and Jane Birkin before their relationship started in earnest. And Charlotte made her own musical debut on another controversial duet with her father in 1984 on the track Lemon Incest, a song that she still includes in her set, though the song's lyrics originally led some people to suspect the close relationship between Charlotte and her unconventional father was inappropriate or even abusive, though Charlotte has repeatedly stated that was never remotely the case. An album of songs featuring Charlotte and Serge, entitled Charlotte Forever, was released in 1986, just 5 years before her father died of a heart attack. But I started my conversation with Charlotte by talking about the hotel where she was staying, which seemed to me to be part snooty nightclub, part farty art gallery, and part Zoolander convention. I'll be back with a little bit more waffle at the end, but right now, here we go! Is this a hotel you've stayed at before?
Just once.
Is this the kind of hotel that you favour?
No.
I would describe this hotel, no disrespect,
Yes, no.
to you, anyone staying here or anyone involved with this hotel, as swanky with a silent S.
They described my shower. They said if you go in the shower and you press that button, there's a screen that lightens up, and if the other person on the other side, in the other suite, wants to see you, he or she just presses the button, and then the screen reveals.
Wow!
I didn't use it.
That's useful though. I'm always in hotels thinking, if only there was some kind of screen that would reveal the person behind it when I press the button.
Well, they thought about it.
And there's kind of crazy art everywhere. It's all very dark.
Yes.
There's a lot of places like this in Los Angeles, and I think now they're all over the place.
Sort of boutique hotels.
Yeah. Boutique hotels with I would say, aggressively chic.
Yes, exactly. No, but when I come to London, I never know where to go. I used to stay at my grandmother's house in Old Church Street, and that was it. And that's the only part of London I'm ashamed to say, but that's the only part of London that I really knew. That and Kensington. And now I go from one hotel to another, not really. It's not the same thing.
Do you still like hotels?
I love hotels.
Yeah.
But I've become very picky. So I have a few hotels that I love. But when you're touring, it's always sort of a surprise where you'll end up staying.
Sure.
And on the tour bus is where I'm usually sleeping.
Plus, you're the one that's got to pick up the tab at the end of the day, right?
Exactly.
It's not like, the record company are so generous. Look at this nice hotel. Am I right in thinking you've got a lot of British connections in your family?
I do. Half my family is English. My mother's completely English.
Where was she born?
In London. And I was born in London. My elder sister was born in London. So usually it was really completely centred around London.
Yeah. And when you're travelling around, you're English is very good. So you were speaking English from an early age, presumably, were you?
No, but I heard English spoken around me, but then I was very lazy, and I guess I wanted to have a French personality, and I had a very strong French accent until I was maybe 18, and then my uncle, Andrew Birkin, asked me if I wanted to be in his film, but the condition was to have a perfect British accent. So I needed to study with a voice coach and practice.
That was for the Cement Garden?
Yeah.
And do you remember what the key tricks were to sounding British?
Oof. No, but the sound was... Everything was very familiar, so it wasn't like learning a foreign language or pronouncing it in a very different way. It all seemed quite natural. But I do remember having a cork in my mouth and having to pronounce things with a cork and all sorts of exercises.
A cork in your mouth? What does that do? Makes you sort of go more like that, and
exactly.
That's what British people are like.
Yes, that was needed.
How would one perfect a French accent then? What would be the trick there?
Yeah, exactly. A lot of
that kind of thing. You think in French, though, presumably, do you?
It's weird because I've been living in New York for 4 years now, and it's still tricky to be fluent in English. I mean, to really be able to say what I have in my mind, but at the same time, I do think in English now. When I'm supposed to speak in English, I don't know if I dream in English, maybe not. French is my true language, even though it's not my mother's language, but she was learning French when she got to Paris, and when I was born, she was still struggling with the French. So making an effort to sound as perfect as she could with a lot of mistakes, which was a lot of fun for us. But speaking English then would have meant that it was a sort of a secret language because my father didn't understand English.
Ah, okay.
Mm-hmm. The English was only when we went to London and saw our English side of the family.
And did he ever conduct conversations in English, your pa?
Yes, later on he did. He said that he learnt English just by watching films with no subtitles. But then he spoke English, of course, with a French accent, but more in the American trend. He always made fun of the posh accent.
Uh-huh. Last night you were playing at Coco, is that right?
I was.
Sorry, I didn't get to see you. I was doing a show in Brighton.
Oh.
Otherwise, I would have been
Did it
there.
go well?
Yeah. I had a lot of technical problems. I haven't done a show for a while, so it was very nerve-wracking and unpleasant for me, but I think the audience liked it. I think they like it when things go wrong.
Yes, I think they do, when it's not too lisse, how do you say?
Slick.
Yeah.
How was your show?
Slick. No, it wasn't. No, it was good. It was good, but I'm always nervous when I know people in the audience. And yesterday I knew a few people, so I was only focused on them and what they could think. And the night before it was l'Olympia in Paris, and it was the same thing. I knew my mother was there, so I was thinking about her the whole time.
It is embarrassing when you know people, isn't it? Because it's like you wouldn't go round to a friend's house and get up and start singing, would you?
No.
Unless even if they asked, would you do that? Have you ever been in that situation?
Yes, of people saying, go on, sing, yes. And I haven't done it.
Yeah,
No,
quite right.
Never.
It would be weird.
I mean, I'm too self-conscious to be able to do anything in front of people I know, in front of... Already it's been a big step for me to do live shows. Now it's a real pleasure, which was not the case in the first 2 tours I did. It was really hard. It was a challenge, so I liked it in that sense, being challenged. But now I'm really looking forward to shows that I have to do, so it's a big change.
What were the things that made it difficult for you?
I had the impression that I needed to pretend that I was a singer, which I didn't believe I was, but I don't believe I'm an actor either. It's just this weird thing of having done it all my life, and even so early, when I was 12, I didn't question myself. When I was so young, it was nothing. It was just a little thing that I happened to do, and it was fun. But then when it became more serious and more a real job and a way of earning my life, then it became a little too serious for me to accept that I knew how to do it, that I was a professional. But now I'm just comfortable with the fact that I don't feel I'm a singer and I don't feel I'm an actor, and for me that's fine. So in the beginning, because Beck was very sweet, I did this album with him, and
This was IRM?
Yeah.
In 2010.
And then I did Coachella right from the start, and massive people, and it was quite overwhelming, but at the same time very exciting. It's just that I had no self-confidence, nothing. And then the second tour was a little easier. It was with Conan Moccasin.
Oh yeah, he's great.
He's so sweet, and it was with his band. And so it was much easier and much more friendly in a way. He's always pretending himself that he doesn't know anything and doesn't. So I was finding someone that I really could relate to. But this time it's my band, which makes a big difference because we grew all together. I mean, one by one, but I was there with Sebastian, who did the music, and gradually...
The producer.
Yeah. And then people came in and we formed a band. And so I felt my position was more legitimate this time.
Yeah. And the album Rest came out almost a year ago now, didn't it?
Yes, exactly a year ago, in November, yeah.
Right. And that's the one you're touring at the moment?
Yes, that's the one.
Although presumably you're playing lots of other bits and pieces.
Not a lot, but it's basically the whole album, and I added a few songs of my father's, what my father wrote for me. And
which ones of those are you doing?
I'm doing Lemon Incest, which was my first song ever.
Right.
And then Charlotte Forever. But they're both duos with him. Mm-hmm. So for a long time I thought I would never be able to revisit these songs. And I only sang them once in a studio. It lasted, 20 minutes, and it was over. So to be able to spend some time with them is a real surprise, and it's very, very intimate because I can hear his voice in my mind. He's very present. So it's a special time for me.
Yeah.
Those songs. And then what else? I do a cover of Kanye West and...
Oh yeah, which one?
Runaway.
Okay.
And I love doing that song. And then there's an EP coming out, so 3 of the songs that were supposed to be on the album Rest were leftovers. I wanted the album to be short, and it made sense to keep them out, but some of them I was very, very attached to, so I'm happy to finally have them come out.
How do you get around the problem, the duet problem then with those songs that you did with your pa?
At the beginning I was wondering if I I didn't want his voice, but I was wondering if I should be silent, or if one of the guys from the band, someone should speak his words. And finally, I just did both.
Okay.
And it's not that I'm trying to have a low voice and then a high-pitched voice, but it's natural, I hope. It seems very natural while I'm doing it, so I'm not questioning it anymore. Sort of obvious.
Yeah. And is there an element of sort of provocation when you're doing Lemon Incest particularly? Because that caused such a stir at the time.
It did, but not really. For me, it's really going back to my first experience, and one of the songs that touches me the most. It's still very emotional, but because I was so innocent. It's a very innocent song. Even with his words, he says that the love that we'll never do together. He's very specific on the fact that, of course, he knows very well what he's doing by provoking and saying lemon incest, but he was very specific with me, very precise, and so I was never shocked. And when the song came out, I was in a boarding school, so I didn't even know that it had been a problem, that it was sort of a scandal at the time. I was very well protected, and thank God I was, because then people did ask afterwards, but it didn't matter at all. And I was never nervous about the subject, or there was nothing awkward for me, never.
But you understood. Did you ever talk to him later on about, because your dad must have known that he was obviously prodding at taboos, and he was encouraging people's imaginations to just run riot? Sure,
but that's what he did.
Yeah.
He was a provocateur, and that's the way he wanted to work. But I can understand this, of being extremely shy, extremely self-conscious, and that was his way of dealing with people, the provocation, and he was very, I think you sort of need people like that.
Did you think of him as shy and self-conscious?
Oh yeah.
Oh really? Yeah.
Very, very much. He had a double personality. When you knew him at home, he was very subtle, very not at all show off, but the show-off part was completely him too. But I understood that very well, and that's who he was. And I was quite, even though sometimes it was embarrassing, the drinking was embarrassing, but apart from that, he's the person I admired the most already as a child.
Did you ever talk to him about the drinking and stuff like that?
Oh, all the time.
Oh, really?
I was like a policeman, trying to take bottles away, and no, it was a big struggle. But it was his struggle in the first place.
Yeah. That's a hard job for a daughter.
Yeah, it was. It was.
So back to the album. You've got some stellar contributions on there, Charlotte, from the likes. Well, you've got Manuel from Daft Punk.
Yes.
Owen Pallett, mentioned Conan Moccasin. Paul McCartney, who he wrote Songbird in a Cage? Or did he collaborate with you on that song?
No, he wrote it. But I don't know where it came from, because I never asked. Because I'm not friends.
Oh, okay. I was going to ask how he came to be involved.
I met him in London, but it was nearly 8 years ago now.
Was that through Nigel Godrich?
No, it was through my record company.
Oh, okay.
And at the end of the time we had, I did ask if he would consider working with me in any kind of way, but I didn't really know if he would respond to that. And he did, but I just received the song and a demo of him. I could recognize his voice. So it was so surprising, and I was very flattered and so happy to have this. It was like having a treasure. But then I didn't do anything with it because I wasn't already working on an album, so I waited for ages. And then when we recorded it with Sebastian and with his take on the song, because it was transformed a little bit, we sent it to Paul McCartney to see if he still liked it. And he did, and he came and recorded some instruments with us. So it was a wonderful, wonderful experience, but I can't say more because I was just so amazed that he would come, and then, you know, I couldn't really... It was a bit like pretending that it was normal.
Yeah.
I was very eager to ask many, many questions. And so
what would you have asked him?
Well, things about the song specifically, where it came from, where, you know, is it an old song that he found again, that he came across, or is it something he thought of once we saw each other? You know, precise things.
Were you a Beatles fan when you were growing up?
Very much. But I wish I had been brought up with the specific albums, because for me, it was really when the Blue and Red album were released and the White. So all that order of songs, for me, that's the order. That's the authentic order, and not the original albums. But yes, I'm a big, big fan.
And Bob Dylan, presumably you liked. I mean, you were in Todd Haynes' film about
I was.
Dylan. I'm Not There, is it called? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm Not There.
And you were playing a sort of... It's all versions of Dylan-like figures, right?
Yes, exactly. It's five, if I remember correctly, 5 visions of a Dylan persona.
Yeah, and you were
and I
playing...
play his wife. But the song I did, the cover of Dylan, that came later. I mean, the film was finished, and Todd asked me if I would do a cover.
Which one did you do?
I did Just Like a Woman.
Oh, yeah.
I think I like taking men's songs, you know, because Runaway is really a male song, Just Like a Woman too. And I did Hey Joe.
Oh, yeah.
And that too is very much a man's speech. I don't know why it's just by accident, but it sort of reveals something.
Yeah, it's fun playing a role. I like it when men cover songs that were sung from a woman's point of view.
Yeah.
And they don't change the gender pronouns.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah. But my father used to do this with when he wrote songs for my mother. They were always from his point of view. So she always sang, and that I think she has a lot of female admirers because yes, it speaks to women.
Yeah. Man, I remember when I was at school, and I must have been about 11, and we used to listen to a lot of music, and I listened to the charts all the time. They were so important. I knew exactly what was in the charts, what number it was. I knew every single song. I liked pretty much all of them. It was a real shock when gradually over the years, like, stuff started creeping in. I was like, I don't like this. Why is this in the charts? But there was a sweet spot for about 2 years where everything was just golden as far as I was concerned. I think it was more or less 81, 82 or something like that in the UK.
Oh, yeah.
But it was around the same time that I heard Je t'aime for the first time.
Really?
And someone,
81?
Yeah. So when was that recorded? In the 60s?
No, in the 60s, the version with Brigitte Bardot was done.
Oh, okay. That's right. I forgot. She did it first.
Yes, but she was opposed to the release of that song.
Because it was too saucy?
Because she was getting married.
Okay, fair enough.
And this was not the right timing. And then my mother agreed to do it, and that came out, I guess, 74 maybe?
Okay.
73, 74?
Right.
I think.
So, yeah, I was only just suddenly aware of these things that my parents had screened out of my life. You know, it was possible to do that in those days. No internet. So you just weren't aware of a load of things. I wasn't even aware of the Sex Pistols or anything like that, you know, even though I was growing up at exactly the same time in the UK. Occasionally you'd sort of see them on the news or whatever, but my parents would flick over. But yeah, Je t'aime. And it sort of blew my mind because I just thought, how is it allowed? She's making those sexy sex sounds. And it was sort of passed around like contraband, you know. Have you heard? Listen to this. This is real. It's like, it's not real. It can't be real.
But yeah, I think he was so proud that it was going around in the black market.
Right, okay.
And banished by the Pope. Yeah.
That's right. What did the Pope say about it? He just said...
Oh, I don't know. I just know it was banished.
He didn't like it. He wasn't playing it at the Vatican discos. What sort of stuff are you listening to at the moment?
A lot of Kanye West.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
A lot. I'm still into Yay? Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Yee or yeah. I don't know.
Does the real life personality of an artist ever get in the way of your appreciation of their work?
That's the big question.
That's the question these days, isn't it? Everyone's like, oh, I don't know what to think about this. Everyone was fine with it for years, and now it's suddenly,
I'm not in the social media, so I don't know if it's a positive point, but that's the way it is. So I'm not aware of everything and not as quickly as everyone else. So of course I've heard declarations that Kanye West did, which were appalling, but I don't know if it's a provocation or if it's heavier than that. I don't know. But anyway, I don't feel that I shouldn't listen to him anymore because of that. And I love his work so much, and I feel that he's still so original and so new that it's no, I don't want to condemn him just because I don't know, because he's saying horrible stuff, yes, but I don't know enough also to really have a real have a real
passionate
statement
conviction.
Conviction. But I was a bit shocked. I did the cover of Vogue recently, French Vogue, with my mother and my little sister, and I wanted to use a picture of Matt Dillon taken by Terry Richardson, and I couldn't. It was an old picture from the 80s, and I couldn't because he's banned.
Terry Richardson. What's he been doing?
Awful stuff, maybe, but I mean, he's not. There's no judgment. I don't think he's gone through a trial or anything like that. It's just with the social media, he should be banned, and we shouldn't use any pictures of him or other artists. He's not the only one, but I find it very hard to just erase someone. So I don't know. Maybe he has done terrible stuff, but I still believe in justice and trials and, real things. For me to have just the social media it's not enough.
Also, from your perspective, your father was someone who could easily be portrayed as monstrous in all sorts of ways.
He would have been condemned straight away, yeah. And so what of his music? Then people would have not listened to him. He would have been banned from radios, and I don't know. It's tricky because I don't want to, of course, for the victims, I don't want to minimize that, but it's just before you get to that judgment, it's too quick. We're just doing things in a haste.
Strange as well that clearly there's some sort of cut-off point, because there's all sorts of historical figures that we're not wringing our hands over who did terrible things.
So many. I mean, in the museums, we should take half of the art out.
Yeah. I mean, they do that with political figures, I guess. They take down statues and things like that. But with artists, they're slower, I suppose. But, even people like, the Marquis de Sade, we could probably imagine that he had at least some problems.
But then Céline with his anti-Semitic visions, and he was appalling. But that doesn't mean that he's less of a genius. And I really don't believe in burning books, and I don't know. But it's a tricky subject.
It is. You're a mother.
Yeah.
You have 3 children.
Yes.
I have 3 children as well.
Uh-huh.
And
How old?
Mine, I have a daughter who's 10 and 2 boys, 14 and 16. Yours are a little older, I think?
My boy is 21.
Right.
And I have a 16-year-old girl and a 7-year-old girl.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
So how do you enjoy being a parent? It's easy, isn't it?
So
Everyone
easy.
should do it.
No, but also there are such big gaps between the three that it's really like having 3 different generations. But for me, it's my whole life. I changed when my boy was born. I went from someone who was quite morbid. I had lost my father when I was 19. I was very dark. And Yvan, the father of my children, said that I changed. It was a real turning point. Thank God. So yes, it made me who I am today. But I've never sacrificed any job in order to be at home. I've always managed to take my children with me, so I feel very privileged to have been able to do that. But at the same time, it means now that I'm touring, I'm leaving everyone back home for, a period of time, and it's not that obvious for them. It can be tricky.
And does the experience of being a parent make you think of your parents differently?
Very much. Yes, because especially with every aspect of life, but regarding my work, when I realized that they let me start, I started when I was 12. So my father made me sing with him. But that same year, my mother thought that it would be a good idea if I had my own world in a sense, going to cinema and to have my own projects. And so she suggested for me to do a casting for a film, and I got the part. And that meant that same year I did a film and a song. And being 12 in a foreign country with a film crew, it was so exciting. It was a new life.
Which film was that?
It was called Paroles et Musique. I have a small part. Mm-hmm. But I was so young when I saw my daughter, my 16-year-old daughter at 12, and I thought, so I was out in the wild at that age. I'm very thankful to my parents to have given me that freedom, because maybe it's a time where they were, I don't know, less nervous, and because I would be very, very nervous. But thank God I started that young, because then I never had to ask myself if that was really what I wanted to do. I mean, it was more obvious than that. But so anyway, thinking about my parents, they've both in a very, very different way. I've had real models of education, I don't know, but a way of thinking for sure.
Do you feel you're more protective of your children, more nervous with them than your parents would have been with you?
Yes, but that was as a result of them being very hassled when they split up. At first, we used to do magazine photos on Sundays, of a happy family, the 4 of us. And then when they separated, the paparazzis were there, and it was
How old would you have been?
I was 9.
Oh man, that's hard.
It was really hard, and that was the other side of that public life. It was very stressful, very. I saw my parents really miserable. My father was miserable because he was on his own, but my mother was in such a bad. It was such a bad time to have to protect her children and see how wounded my father was, and having her own story. I mean, it was very complicated. So after that, I thought, you have to be completely private, never talk about your children, never talk about your boyfriend. But then after I've been with Yvan for 27 years, now I feel so stupid. Just, I don't need to be private. I don't need to protect this, our relationship. It's fine. And when I did this album, Rest, I started thinking about videos, and I wanted to shoot them myself. So I had stories that came up, and very soon I realized that I wanted to film my own children. And I thought, is it a problem to put them out there? And then I did think about my parents and the fact that they always welcomed us in their work. especially my father, because he was directing videos, he was doing his music. Even I remember when people asked him for an autograph when I hadn't done anything, he would always make me sign too. It was just normal to participate with the people he loved. So I thought, well, maybe I have the right to do the same thing with my own children. And it's really an act of love. And just because they are the ones that I want to film, of course. And I thought for them, it's, if they want to do it, I think they were old enough to say no if they didn't think they would enjoy themselves. So my son was so sweet, because it was the first video I was doing, and he saw that I was nervous, and he wanted to please me, and he wanted to do everything right. It was only a video, so it wasn't a big deal, but for us it was. And it was very charming to have that first experience with him and then my 2 daughters.
Are they on social media?
I don't know. I think they are. My son, maybe, yes. But I don't really know.
Is it one of your children at the end of the last track on Rest?
Yes. She was only 3. She's quite embarrassed today. She's 7 and she knows her alphabet.
Les Oxalis?
No, Les Oxalis, that's the last song. But it's sort of a hidden track. So
right, yeah.
It's called Joe's ABC, but it's not Les Oxalis.
Ah, okay. Yes. It's the hidden track.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, it's Joe singing the alphabet song.
Yes.
And then it's a lovely bit of just kind of naturalistic recording in your house or wherever, and then suddenly the full band comes in or the music comes in.
It was a present. In fact, my daughter came in the studio while we were recording with Sebastian, and she went behind the mic, and I didn't even I didn't know that he was recording her. And so he took it back with him and then made this orchestra the way he does and sent it to me. But it was a joke.
Okay.
And I never thought really that it would end up on the album, but it suddenly made sense, to finish with such a light, innocent note. I was very attached to it in the end.
It really works because the danger, obviously, with stuff with your children is that people feel that you're smug about how cute they are or something, and they just want to punch you. But I don't think that's not in that category. I don't
think so, but I don't really care. But I thought it was very funny, so that's why it's there.
Yeah, it's great, the album. I really love it.
Thank you.
I loved IRM as well with Beck. That was. Am I right in saying that was quite a lot of a collaboration with Beck?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole thing was done with him.
Yeah. Okay. So it wasn't you sort of taking turns.
No. I went to meet him to see if, of course, I wanted to work with him, and he said, "Let's try." So we started just doing 3 tracks, and they worked out really well. So we said, let's continue, and it went on for maybe a year. It was quite long, but each time it was wonderful because I was able to go to Los Angeles, work with him in his own studio. It was very family-like, at his home, and it was a lovely relationship.
Did you know him already?
I met him through Nigel Godrich.
Ah, yes. So you worked with Nigel. I know Nigel.
Yeah?
Yeah, he's an old friend.
Oh.
I haven't seen him so much recently, but...
I haven't either. But it's thanks to him and Air, Nicolas and Jean-Benoit, that I did a record with them all together.
So that was in 2006, 555?
Yes, exactly. And it was 20 years after the previous album that I had done with my only album that I had done with my father. So it was a big step for me to go back in the studio and
Charlotte Forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To imagine that I could still do some music.
Did they find you and convince you? Because I know that Nigel was obsessed with Histoire de Melody Nelson.
Yes.
As were a lot of those LA musicians. That was a big album for them.
And I think for Air, my father's music was still is a big deal, and it's part of their inspiration. So they were very open about their admiration for my father, but hopefully that's not why they came to see me. But we met at a Radiohead concert out of the blue. I mean, nothing was planned, but then they said, we just talked about you and we should try and do something. So that's how it started. I loved Air. I loved their music, and I was hoping to project myself in their atmosphere, in their world. So thanks to Nigel, I happened to be in Los Angeles, and he said to come by in a studio, and there was Beck. They were recording together. Very sweet encounter, but we were not friends right after that. It took that project to really meet for real.
Did you like Beck's music already at that point?
Yeah, very, very much. And as an author also, I mean, you always think of Beck, the musician and the artist, but the lyrics and the way he writes, I was able to be there actually while he was writing, and it seemed so effortless. He had this little notepad and would wander about and come back with a full song. It seems so easy. And he said, but you have to write. It's nothing. You're making it a big deal, but it's nothing. You just try and write the worst song ever. That was his advice. That's the first step. Try to write the worst one, and then you'll be fine.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, because just getting started sometimes, not being intimidated by the blank canvas.
Exactly.
Is the challenge.
And that it's really thanks to Conan Moccasin that I was able to write for the first time, because he also said, you have to start. And I don't speak French, so let's go in a place. And we went into my country house at the time. He was behind his guitar and making up melodies, and I was able to put words for the first time because he was so very positive thinking. And it was the first step of rest.
I love Beck because he does the art pop thing that I really like.
Yes.
Slightly disposable, silly, sometimes nonsense a lot of the time. It's as if he's just plucking words and phrases and ideas out and making a collage. And maybe it's a bit superficial sometimes, but it's really fun.
Yeah.
And a bit disposable, like pop. But then he also does that Dylan thing of making songs that really mean something and that you can really feel them, and he's got those albums like, Mutations was the one that really got under my skin first of all, and then Sea Change, and which is so indebted to Melody Nelson.
Yeah, very much.
Yeah, I love that style. I love that he can do both those things.
But
and I think that you do that as well, really well on Rest.
But also working with him it seemed like he was always experimenting. And that's what I love about him, is that he's very unexpected. And what he does is unexpected. Of course, he does pop songs and he knows how to do them. But at the same time, he's interested in everything, every sound, when I came up with this IRM MRI sound, because I had gone through a lot of exams and an accident and stuff like that. And I said, do you think we can do a piece of music with this MRI sound, which was really disturbing? And he was so excited by that. So he was open to anything. The French, the more I spoke in French, the better it was. He was not at all saying, this is how you should do things and this is how you should sing. He made me feel so comfortable also with the singing. Everything was this positive thinking and positive vibes that's sort of needed when you're trying to do something.
Yeah. There's lots of good stuff on that IRM record. And IRM is just French for MRI.
Yeah.
I suppose for him it must have been fun to have someone whose first language was French, because then it removes an important part of the creative process from his own field of familiarity.
Yes, but he was still exploring American culture, and for me it was like entering a foreign country, and that culture that was really not mine, to have sort of a bit of folk songs. It was a bit of everything, but I had the right to enter because it was him, because he made it mine. But for me, it was very American in a way. And because it was recorded in Los Angeles, it all made sense. But it was very much his culture. But I do understand this thing that you say, that because I was French, the focus was not in the usual place.
It just shifted, yes.
Yeah, just shifted, exactly.
Right, let's go again. What don't you fucking understand? Kick your fucking ass! Let's go again! What the fuck is it with you? I want you off the fucking set, you prick! No! You're a nice guy! The fuck are you doing? No! Don't shut me up! No! No! Da-da-da-da like this. No! No! Don't shut me up! Da-da-da-da like this. Fuck's sake, man, you're amateur. Seriously, man, you and me, we're fucking done professionally.
Can we talk about films?
Mm-hmm.
What is it that makes you say yes to a film project?
Now I've become much more demanding, or I have to. It's very instinctive because I still don't know how to analyze a script and to know if something's missing, if plot wise it's a good script or a bad script. I don't work that way, so I have to fall in love with a story, with a character, and now it's a question of time. Mm-hmm. It's time away from my family, so it has to mean something. I mean, I love doing stupid things too, but it has to mean something. I really have to be longing to enter a part and also to collaborate with people I admire. Mm. So I feel that I was so lucky to work with certain directors, people I was fascinated by. It did put the bar very high.
Who are the ones that spring to mind?
Lars von Trier is really someone that he's the only one I did 3 films with.
Yeah.
Well, Yvon also I could say husband, but we're not married. But we've done more than 3 films now, but that's a bit different. With Lars, each film was completely new. Even if the way of working was similar, he put me in different places where I was not expecting to go. And so the surprise was always so exciting, and it's real work. It's not just letting go, and no, it feels like real work.
Were you a fan of his stuff before you worked with him?
Yeah.
The Dogma films and...
I loved, I forgot the name. The Idiots. I loved that film. I loved Dogville. So yes, I did love his work, but I didn't know what to expect when I met him. He was weird and I mean weird, he was just original. He didn't seem that interested. So I didn't really know what he was looking for. And I remember stepping out of this first interview and calling my mother and saying, nah, I don't think it'll work out. He just asked me if I had a depression, if I had panic attacks, and I felt so normal. I said no. So I didn't feel that I was weird enough for him.
Uh-huh.
But in the end, he called me back and said, I'd love you to do the film. So it was the first step.
So that was to do the Antichrist festival.
Yeah.
Not the Antichrist, just Antichrist.
Yeah.
It's not about the Antichrist.
No.
No. It's a strange mashup of genres, that film.
That's true.
It's almost it is kind of a horror film. There's some extreme gore, but there's these psychological elements which are very strong as well.
Yes, for me it was the whole experience. I know that people often ask me if it was hard, the physical part, if that was hard, to be naked and the sex scenes, and that wasn't really hard compared to the emotional struggle and that was needed in other scenes of the loss of the child. And
well, when you're at the child's funeral, and it's this sort of unimaginable pain.
That was quite hard. So all the other stuff was fun, and the screaming in the forest and all that. When I think about it now, it was so exciting to be able to in the same day to scream wildly and then have a sex scene and then an emotional
Hit William
scene.
Dafoe's nuts with a hammer. Yeah. Everyone likes doing that.
It was a lot of fun. And then when that shoot ended and I was back to normal, it felt so weird not to be able to scream anymore and just be quiet again. So films are quite useful for me.
How is Willem Dafoe? He's a hero of mine. I just think
so wonderful.
I love his stuff.
So generous. And I remember the shoot. It was a very weird, we were shooting in a weird place. It was a golf course, a hotel on a golf course, completely bleak and awful. An hour away from Cologne in Germany. So it was a bit tough. And Willem and his wife were just below me in that hotel place. There was no reception or anything. It was so isolated, but they would cook in the evening and it was such a relief to be able to have a lovely meal with him and his wife. It was great. And he introduced me to yoga also.
Oh, really?
He did it so intensely. It was wonderful.
And then were you prepared for the response when it came out? Did you imagine that people would be shocked? And
I thought that it would be much more difficult than what it was, in Cannes especially, because I thought I had never been to Cannes with a scandalous film or something a little provocative like this film. And I knew that Lars was sort of that kind of a figure. So I was expecting boos and, to be, have quite violent, explanations and that wasn't the case. People were very respectful. I didn't hear anything, nasty, which didn't mean that it was a deception, but it was much easier than what I thought.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because do you have any sympathy for people who are upset by films like that? Can you see it from their point of view?
Sure. I mean,
because I think from some people's point of view, my dad was very conservative, right?
Yeah.
When he was alive. And he couldn't have got his head around a film like Antichrist. He couldn't even, he couldn't have even begun to understand why it was made. Because he would think, what is the point of these boundaries that we have as people, as a society, these taboos, they're in place for a reason. And what is the point of shoving away at those boundaries? Because that'll just become the norm, and then people have to keep shoving away at the boundaries, and then where are we going to be?
Well,
you know what I mean?
Yes, I don't agree, but yes.
Yeah, what would you say?
I love art in that sense because it's important that artists explore taboos. I find it very useful also to understand them, to understand the boundaries. If you must be disrespectful. For me, you have to be disrespectful of certain boundaries to be able to understand what respect is about, I don't know if I'm very clear, but
I think I know what you mean.
But it's important to understand the limit between art and real life, of course, and not to adapt any kind of exploration in art to bring that back to real life. No, of course you have to have boundaries in that sense.
Right, yeah. Art provides a sort of safe space for you to explore these ideas, and it shouldn't have a direct impact on the way you behave in real life or whatever.
Yeah. But then it's hard to know how
But of course it does have an influence, yeah.
It's hard to know how people will absorb any piece of art and, and be so inspired that they could relate to that and produce something terrible in real life, of course. But But anyway, about taboos, I think you have to talk about things for sure. Talk, not act.
Yeah. And from a practical point of view, melancholia, that is a strange film to actually make a film about the end of the world that's so unflinching like that, about the sort of banalities of what it would be like if everyone knew the world was going to end in a few weeks.
Yeah.
What would it really be like? What kind of conversations would you actually have? It was a hard watch for me, I must say, because I'm very literal minded. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If I'm watching something, I'll be upset by it
Yeah.
before I intellectualize it.
Yeah, yeah.
And did you find yourself getting depressed by?
I was very, not depressed, but I was in a very bad state during that shoot. Because I started the film thinking, so I've done Antichrist, I know Lars, I thought I knew what to expect. And then he completely surprised me because we started with the wedding scenes with a lot of people, much bigger crew than on Antichrist, where we were in that little cabin, just, I don't know, five of us. So suddenly it was a big crew, a lot of figurants, a lot of extras, a lot of actors, and the focus was on Kirsten, not on me. And I realized how privileged I had been on Antichrist because he was just there for me. I mean, for Willem too, but it's very focused on me. So that made me very unbalanced at first. And then gradually my self-confidence went from 10 to 0. And I thought that he wanted to fire me. I thought that he was so unhappy with what I was doing that suddenly I would get a call from the producer. So I went to see one of the producers and said, is he so unhappy with what I'm doing? And she said, no, not at all. And then she said, but go and see him. So I went to see him and he said, no, don't worry. But still, I was very, very insecure. And at the end of the shoot, I went to see the producer that I had talked to. And she said, I'm really sorry. I couldn't really reassure you because Lars didn't want me to. So I understood that he wanted me to be exactly where I was in that very uncomfortable place. And it served the film, I guess.
And you're okay with that sort of thing? I mean, obviously, there are stories about Lars von Trier and Bjork now that have surfaced. From Bjork's point of view, she claims that she was uncomfortable with the way he behaved.
I was never uncomfortable. He was always, I love this game and it is a game and I agreed to play this game from the start. So maybe I have a sort of a masochistic mind, I'm sure, but part of me was really thrilled by the fact that I was his puppet. That he was pulling me in that direction and then in this direction. And even doing takes after takes, what's incredible with him is that you just explore a scene in every possible way. And then you don't know what will end up in the film. He decides. And for Antichrist, I won the prize in Cannes, but I thought it was really his work because I was just an instrument who went all over the place and trusted him for sure, but he made the character. He made what I got that award for.
So you trusted that this was a game. Any weirdness from him was just a way of doing things and not something that was ultimately going to diminish you as a person, as an actor.
And he asked me to trust him on that.
Yeah.
He said, because I said parts of my body I really don't want you to see. And he said, really trust me. I will not make you be embarrassed by yourself but it was very specific. On Antichrist, he needed me to agree that I would have a body double for this, that on this, in this angle, this is how I would look, and would I agree to that? Once I agreed, it was, we knew what we had to do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there is a perversion in that game, but it's more of a moral perversion that I enjoy.
You never got a sense like when you came off set and went back to your room, you never sort of got the chills and thought, no, I shouldn't have done that. I felt.
Once I said, but he asked me, he said, would you, that was on Antichrist. He said, would you agree to to be on camera with a porn actor that was going to be the body double of Willem. Mm-hmm. And he was having an erection, and I was to be in that shot, not touching him, not doing anything, but in that same shot. And I said, no, of course I don't care. And I went there, and then being with the camera crew and this porn actor who was very sweet, but suddenly I was in a different film, and I stepped out and I said, no, in fact, I can't, that's my limit.
So how did that work in Nymphomaniac? Was all the sort of pornographic close-ups either doubles or prosthetics?
Yes, I had. It was quite comical because there were prosthetics everywhere in the studio, fake vaginas and really vaginas in a bad state. Well, mine, it was quite disgusting, but to have guys at 6 a.m, putting, strapping you up with that fake thing, it was quite comical. And so we had fun on that film.
There's one scene I'm thinking of with a couple of guys, and they're in the foreground. They're big guys, and they've got big old erections that are sort of waving around, and you're sat on the bed behind.
Yes.
Were they real erections?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't that a strange thing, though, to be in a room? Isn't there a sort of atmosphere that is charged by real erections?
It was very weird, but weird and funny, I have to say. And that scene for me is very, very comical. So the thing that was weird was that I was placed on, close to the bed and with those two guys who were actors. Porn actors too, but they were not just body doubles, they were the actual actors. So we started the scene, and once it was getting pornographic, then I was stepping out, and a woman came in to do the body double, but then it was just, they were going to put my face, it was post-production.
Bit of CG magic.
And I can see it when I saw the scene. It's very funny because I don't move in the right way.
Right. Okay. You're not sort of saying, it's reminding me of a children's book now. That's not my bottom.
But on Antichrist, I was shocked because when I saw the film, I don't have that body. I mean, down there. And I thought I should have said something. And so on Nymphomaniac, they asked me to agree on the body that was to be me. And it's true that vagina's very different.
Sure.
It's a whole persona.
Absolutely. They're very characterful.
Wait.
This is an advert for Squarespace. Welcome to the finale of Web Games with me, Jimmy Website. After 9 stupid weeks, we're down to just 2 contestants fighting to build their own website. The winner will be the one who loses the least amount of the world's most valuable commodities. Time and patience. The websites must look professional and be easy to maintain. How's it going, Abby?
Pretty good, Jimmy. I'm using Squarespace to build my website because you can do a free trial there and experiment with a wide variety of great-looking templates into which you can easily add text, pictures, and videos.
How about you, Mike?
I'm not using Squarespace. I'm trying to set up an online store, and it's making me sad.
Oh, Mike, you're losing so much time. Your life is slipping away, dude. Brutal.
I've just finished my free trial, and I love my Squarespace website, so I'm gonna buy it. Oh, I'm being asked if I have an offer code. I'm gonna type in Buxton. I just saved 10% on my new Squarespace website with the offer code Buxton!
I just tore the last of my hair out.
Oh, sorry, Mike. You are a loser, and now you're going to be dropped through the floor onto a mat, not far beneath the floor. Ooh. You should have gone to squarespace.com/Buxton, you loser.
Don't worry, Mike. You still can.
Thank you.
Continue.
Hey, welcome back, Podcats. That was Charlotte Gainsbourg talking to me there. And I have posted in the description of this podcast a few links to bits and pieces, a music video for a track from Rest, I think it's the title track even, and a interview on a video podcast I thought was quite good called Soul Sisters, plus links to some of the Serge Gainsbourg music we mentioned, including Histoire de Melody Nelson, which is really a terrific album. Anyway, there's so much to explore in the world of the Gainsbourgs. So many intriguing and odd aspects to Charlotte's story over the years, and obviously her dad is quite... I mean, you could spend a long time going down a Serge Gainsbourg rabbit hole on YouTube. But anyway, I'm going to keep it relatively short this week. Got to get home, try and do a bit more writing. But I did want to mention that this Sunday, the 19th, on BBC Two at 9:30 is the first episode of What We Do in the Shadows, the TV version of the excellent film written and directed by Taika Waititi and Jermaine Clement. And I think those two are still involved with the TV show. But of course, one of the stars of the TV version is friend of the podcast, well, two friends of the podcast, Matt Berry and Tash Dimitriou, two-time podcast guest and one of the funniest people around at the moment. Kay Van Novak is also in the show, and he's also brilliant. But anyway, I'm looking forward to seeing that this Sunday, 9:30 on BBC Two, What We Do in the Shadows. But that's it for this week. Rosie, Dogaris, come, stop gambling. Let's head back. Rosie, come on, let's go. Come on. I'm running. Come on, Rose. Oh, here she comes. Good fly past from the hairy bullet. Thanks very much indeed to Seamus Murphy-Mitchell for his invaluable production support on this episode. Thanks to Matt Lamont for gifting us his Edit Wizbot skills. Thanks to Acast for hosting this and other so many great podcasts. Don't forget to check out the free Adam Buxton app, on which you will find links to all sorts of great stuff. Jingles, amazing videos, some of which are exclusive to the app, and bonus audio content, all exclusive to the app. Some whole extra episodes of the podcast, as well as extra bits of chat from people like Johnny Marr and Garth Jennings and James Acaster. It's all there on the app. Have a look, or don't. We'll stay friends either way. Until next time you choose to pay me and Rosie a visit, I'm begging you, take care. My wife doesn't like the expression take care. I don't know what her problem is with it. I guess maybe she feels that I'm such a wally that the idea of me telling anyone to take care is a little ridiculous. It's not a bad point. Yesterday, for example, we got a new stove installed in the barn, and I was taught how to use it. It's like a wood burner with a glass panel on the front, and I was learning how to use it. And within 1 hour, I had burned my hand on my palm. Boy, it's painful! And I did the exact wrong thing, which was put ice on it immediately. Apparently, you're not supposed to put ice on it. I Googled later on, what are you supposed to do with burns? And the first thing all of the websites said was, whatever you do, don't put ice on the burn. Apparently, it causes tissue damage. But I think maybe that's more if you're worried about long-lasting cosmetic damage, you know what I mean? As far as I can tell, it hasn't made too much difference to my little David Byrne, which is healing up fine. But yeah, wow, for a couple of hours, I was in great pain. What do you think, Technobird? Technobird is saying, yep, you definitely shouldn't be telling people to take care because you're a wally. Screw you, Technobird. Take care. I love you. Bye!
Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Please like and subscribe. Give me like a smile and a thumbs up. Nice like a fat when my bums up. Give me like a smile and a thumbs up. Nice like a fat when my bums up. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Please like and subscribe. Give me like a smile and a thumbs up. Nice like a fat when my bum's up. Give me like a smile and a thumbs up. Nice like a fat when my bum's up. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Please like and subscribe. Give me like a smile and a thumbs up. Nice like a fat when my bum's up. Give me like a smile and a thumbs up.